loans, highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage rates and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com. For J.D. Power award information.
Thank you, everybody.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed rate loans. Call for cost information.
Got the balloon, too.
License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
My wife tells me that I have to wear this throughout the live stream, so that's what we're doing.
We seek to serve those who are most vulnerable, those that are 55 years and older who live on a limited income. Our homes are designed to help you thrive. Individual apartments are move-in ready, including studio and one-bedroom options that are available. Our goal is that everyone can afford quality of life. All apartments are private and equipped with modern conveniences such as emergency call devices, their own handicap accessible bathroom, kitchenette and appliances, and individually controlled heating and cooling. And services can be provided for assistance in activities of daily living, medication reminders and assistance, 3 meals per day, weekly housekeeping and laundry, as well as a wide range of activities. Visit Silver Mishawaka, where high-quality assisted living is affordable. We work with multiple funding sources such as private pay, Medicaid waiver, and veterans.
Well, I don't know that I'm going to be able to wear this the entire show. It is pinching the hell out of the side of my head. And it hurts, so we'll see.
Final Phase Electric Studios. From the first step to the final phase.
All right, here we go.
Electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. And please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Do want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range. Once again, today is the Defensive Pistol Open League night. It is co-ed. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information about that and other events and training opportunities that they have. All right. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill said that the more than 2,200 fetal remains found in the Illinois home of the former South Bend abortion doctor are now being stored in St. Joseph County. Of course, Brooklyn was just telling you about that in MNC News. Family members of Ulrich George Klopfer found the remains in his home in Will County, Illinois, shortly after he died on September 3rd. He performed abortions for decades in Indiana, including South Bend, Gary, and Fort Wayne. It's funny, we were having a conversation about this not that long ago, and people were saying they most of these stories seem to be focusing on South Bend, and that does seem to be true. Now, I don't know what ratio the number of abortions were in South Bend versus Gary or in Fort Wayne, but he did have clinics in all three cities, okay? And we know that the total number is about 30,000 abortions. We know that. 2,200 of those remains, again, were in his garage. Records stored with the remains indicate they are from Indiana, though not necessarily all from abortions performed in South Bend, Hill said during a press conference today. Hill also refused to say the gestational age of the remains and did not comment on where exactly they are being kept. He also refused to answer other questions at Thursday's news conference, saying that he would not speculate until additional information is available. This is a tough situation, and it won't be perfect for everyone, he said. Now, remember, it's important that everybody understand that while this is gruesome and certainly odd, and it raises a lot of questions, even so much so that the local abortion clinic is claiming that they are shocked by what has happened. If we don't proceed, obviously, appropriately, and that's what the Attorney General appears to be doing, he is very pro-life, by the way, then you will start getting rumor mill stuff. And that's kind of what's already starting to happen. People are getting really angry. But, who knows how old these things are, too? They could be very old. This guy performed abortions here for a long, long time. The gestational age is something that obviously has to be looked into and that sort of thing, just to ensure that they were all, legal. But the law requiring that fetal remains be properly and, properly disposed of with integrity in Indiana, that's a relatively new law. So there may not have been any criminal actions that actually happened with Klopfer when he took these fetal remains across the border, okay? Now, again, I'm not up on abortion law, and there is some speculation that taking them across the border may have been an issue, but it may not have been an issue either, especially since that honorable burial thing is relatively new. Okay, Hill's office is investigating to determine why Klopfer kept the remains. He also is looking into whether any of the doctor's former staff members knew of or took part in transporting the remains over state lines. Because again, depending on when this happened, there could be a potential legal issue, but that all depends. We're not sure. A couple of weeks ago, I posted on Facebook. I don't think I actually got to discuss it on the show, but I posted on Facebook that one of the former co-workers that worked with Klopfer said that he did not have kind things to say, and he said he wasn't surprised that he kept these remains, and he had a lot of very unsavory things to say about the abortion doctor that we're talking about here. So I posted that on Facebook. It's been a couple of weeks. It's kind of buried. Just go to post and do a search for it, and you'll be able to find it. But he didn't have kind things to say about him at all. And I would assume that most people are probably looking at this and going, yeah, somebody stores 2,200 fetal remains in their garage long after their license has been pulled and they're not allowed to perform abortions anymore. Probably isn't the most upstanding individual in the world. Let's see. After Hill started his investigation, he contacted prosecutors in St. Joseph, Allen, and Lake counties to secure search warrants for Klopfer's clinics to see if there were any more fetal remains. None were found, but thousands of medical records were found in the clinics in violation of HIPAA, FACTA, a whole bunch of federal laws. Okay. Now, obviously, Klopfer's dead. Nothing's really going to come of that, but those records will now be properly taken care of. Hill said that he took custody of those records to ensure patient confidentiality, and no additional properties have been searched. Fetal remains found in Klopfer's home. Again, about 2,200 of them, and they're continuing to investigate the ages of them and everything else. Klopfer's license was pulled. He had a whole host of issues with how he conducted his practice. Apparently they're from the years 2000 to 2002. Based on the information that they have found. They were each in small plastic medical bags filled with chemical preservative called formalin. The bags were stored in more than 70 cardboard boxes in Klopfer's garage and all had intact records, so they know who they were. Okay, that's something that I wasn't aware of until the information today. So there we go. So we know that they were from the year 2000 to 2002. So that is better able to go ahead and tell you what sort of legal ramifications could be happening here. The record stuff, leaving those records unattended, that is a violation of FACTA and HIPAA, so that's going to be an issue. But it's nothing that can really be actionable since the man is already dead. 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595-953. I told you that the South Bend Housing Authority was going to do everything they could to pin all of the federal investigation on the now former president, Tanya Robinson. And that is exactly what they are doing. Now, you should understand the information I have indicates that there is more people that are being looked at. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that they're guilty. I'm not saying that they did anything wrong. I'm just saying that the information that I have indicates that more people than just Tanya Robinson were being investigated in this whole process. Of course, the feds raided the facility several weeks ago. The former executive director of the South Bend Housing Authority was fired soon after the FBI informed the agency board that there were serious misconduct allegations against her. The Housing Authority Board released a statement to the Tribune on Wednesday, broadly outlining the ouster of Tanya Robinson in response to newspapers' public records request. In July, the FBI had conducted search warrants on the Housing Authority's main office and a home owned by the agency. On September 6th, federal law enforcement officials informed an attorney for the Housing Authority of the allegations against Robinson. It does not detail the allegations against Robinson, but says that she was suspended on September 17th in light of the serious nature of the allegations and in order to facilitate investigation of those allegations. These statements also said the board decided to conduct a performance review of Robinson, whose contract was set to expire on September 28th, conveniently. At the conclusion of its evaluation of Ms. Robinson's performance, the board determined that her performance was not satisfactory, which constitutes good cause to terminate her employment. And I would say, being honcho over at a place that gets raided by the feds is probably not going to be a great resume booster. Prior to Robinson's dismissal, board members discussed the FBI investigation at a public meeting. According to minutes of the August 27th meeting, the first one held after the FBI raid, board members Steve Look, apologize if I mispronounced that, asked what the FBI was looking for. Robinson, still executive director at the time, said that she didn't know, as they had been investigating everything from A to Z, the minutes show. They also inquired if there was any information about the grand jury regarding the FBI investigation. Robinson said that she did not have any details on that. Now, for the record, okay, a lot of people are saying that she's hiding things. Perfectly honest with you, I don't know that she is. The U.S. Attorney's Office has refused to get back to me. I have made several requests to the FBI. Nobody has said a thing, okay? So they are really tight-lipped about this. I have some inside information that seems to indicate what is happening. But again, a lot of that is speculation, which is why I haven't gone public with this. I mean, well, tell us about it. I can't. It's hearsay at this point in time. I don't know that it's true. I don't know that it's accurate because I can't get the federal government or even the U.S. attorney in the state to come out and tell me what is happening and confirm anything. Federal grand juries are convened to determine whether criminal charges should be brought in federal cases. Their proceedings are secret, not open to the public, which most of you know. The FBI investigation isn't the only one. The Department of Housing and Urban Development Inspector General is also investigating the Housing Authority, which uses federal money to provide public housing and Section 8 vouchers. And again, this organization has had problems for a long, long, long time. Mayor Pete had to replace basically everybody, and now it appears that even though he replaced everybody, the same old practices have continued on through now. So as soon as we learn any specific details, folks, we'll pass them on to you. But the government is being very tight-lipped about this. And one of the reasons that the government tends to be tight-lipped about it is the investigation is not done, and there might be more targets of that investigation, which seems to be what I am being told. So we'll see, okay? As soon as I know something, I will certainly pass it on to all of you. We have more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 26 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people. Visit Prime Table today for breakfast.
All right. This thing pinches like a son of a gun. I might have to take this off. I'll put it on during commercial breaks. How about that? Huh?
It is a commercial.
I know, but I put it on through the normal segment. It is seriously pinching the hell out of it. It's like, it's a very small tiara, and it's like pinching right above my ears, and I've been fighting this headache. So, the balloon. There's the balloon. There it is.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
Sunday looks dry. Temperatures in the mid-60s. Sun and clouds on Monday.
I don't know if Pete's issued a no comment thing on it, but Mueller has. Mueller's issued a no comment on the South Bend Housing Authority.
Democrats are ready to have the debate now.
A ban on the importation of assault weapons.
When you disarm people, you increase. All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Taking away guns from law-abiding citizens is not going to stop crazy people from using weapons to kill people.
For every one person killed using a semi-automatic rifle, 15 are killed with handguns.
Many Americans are losing their lives to gun violence.
For every person killed with any firearm, 4 are killed using guns.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather station.
This message is for all those stream-happy, data-loving smartphone junkies.
Yeah, so last night I had this really miserable night. One of the biggest impacts, I think, of the carnivore diet was that my heartburn and my acid reflux went away. And it really only took a few days for that to happen. And the past 2.5 weeks, I have not really been on carnivore. I've been, since I got back in town from DC, I've tried to up my meat intake, but I still haven't been very disciplined. And I think it caught up with me yesterday. So I could not go to sleep. I went to bed at 6:20 this morning, and then my wife had to take my daughter to school and run some errands. And so I had to get up with my other daughter. And then it was about 10 o'clock. My mom woke up, and I was able to go back to bed, and I slept till 1. But just starting to recover. Just kind of don't feel real good right now.
Good faith management, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house that wants
Birthday today, Tracy. Thank you.
call me at 574-294-5678.
I'll do this during the commercial breaks, just to be a good sport, but I don't think I can do it during a normal segment. Just pinches the hell out of me. Thank you, Oberos. Appreciate that. Thank you, Stalker.
Private real estate investor who buys several houses a month and I want to buy even more.
Yeah, it was. I haven't had heartburn that bad in years. I tried everything, all the normal tricks. None of them worked. None of them. So I just ended up being up all night.
I even buy my tenant will pay me to rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses.
I suppose I should log into the texting service, right?
Houses and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574.
I think my joint chat thing is not working on my end. I can see way more comments when I go to YouTube than I do from here. Oh well. No biggie. What's up, Sam? How you doing?
It's all about the fun, sitting around the campfire with your wife in the evening, kids.
Don't act. It's not that important. Yeah, it does pinch quite a bit. But I'll be a good sport maybe during commercial breaks. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe the news breaks. I'll do it during the news breaks. How about that?
Trying to figure out what they're wanting to do with an RV, where they're wanting to go.
Thank you, Daisy. Appreciate it.
And we try to make it real. I don't like
Thank you, Tracy.
I don't like having my arms twisted. I don't like all of the extra cost. We don't play all the typical used car salesman games.
My boy Dave, he got me a birthday package too. He got me a cigar and a lighter and some hot sauce. And I think there was something else in there too. Oh yeah, some toothpicks from the great toothpick theft that happened a few weeks ago.
Turn to the experts at Four Winds Custom Heating and Air Conditioning and Carrier to get up to $1,650 in Carrier factory rebates on qualifying equipment plus a $79 cleaning check. Contact dealer for complete details. Visit fourwindsheatingandair.com today. Four Winds Heating and Air Comfort you can't compare.
This is Casey Weed at Howard Bailey Financial, where our sole focus is the families and individuals we help every day. We're not here to just beat our chest about our experience and education. While important, we're really here to discuss you and the challenges you'll face in retirement. We're unique, and we are willing to put in the time and effort to ensure you receive a plan that's tailored just for you. Schedule a complimentary visit at
So let's just talk about Amber Geiger. I didn't mention it yesterday on the show, even though the sentencing was handed down in the middle of the show.
Of the Indiana National Guard. The Army National Guard is offering up to a $50,000 enlistment bonus and other tuition benefits to qualified candidates. You may be eligible for up to $50,000 in student loan repayment. Get the education you need to land the career you've always wanted. Learn more about the many benefits that come with serving part-time in the Army National Guard. Visit nationalguard.com today. Sponsored by the Indiana National Guard, aired by the Indiana Broadcasters Association and this station.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. All right, here we go.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send me a text message at 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message, just so I know you're talking to me and not one of the other radio stations. We are live streaming today. If you go to youtube.com/Casey the Host or twitch.tv/Casey the Host, you can go ahead and yeah, watch the live stream there. Subscribe, thumbs up. Sorry, I had a rough night last night. Subscribe, thumbs up, bell icon to get notified of any new uploads, all of that stuff. I would appreciate it. Let's see. Casey, even if he did break the law, he's dead. The best we can do is make sure that they are treated honorably from here on out. That's basically where the Attorney General seems to be going with it. But, you know, they're just ensuring that there isn't something that's being missed before they finalize all of that. And maybe I'll try and get Curtis Hill on the show to talk about it. And we'll see what we can come up with and what the next steps are, if you will. All right. Amber Geiger. Amber Geiger is the ex-police officer who is just convicted of walking into the wrong apartment and killing a man. She says that she thought she was going to her apartment. She's the former Dallas police officer, which everybody likes to make sure we all know her race and the race of her victim. Although race doesn't appear to have been an issue with it, but anytime you can have a white police officer or a white anybody, make them the bad guy, then that's what they will run with. Amber Geiger, the white former police officer convicted of murdering her black neighbor after confusing his apartment for her own, was sentenced to 10 years in prison yesterday. The 31-year-old was found guilty of murder Tuesday morning, faced a maximum sentence of 99 years in prison for fatally shooting 26-year-old Botham Jean in his apartment on September 6th of 2018. I can't believe that it has been that long. Has this really been a year? It feels like this thing just happened. I mean, the trial was really quick. She had no chance. I mean, anytime, even if, well, I can't believe it was last, it kind of feels like it just happened a few months ago. Because I know the trial started, I was like, wow, that was quick. Apparently not. I didn't realize that it had actually been a year. But so anyway, for those of you who don't remember the story, she's coming home from work. She goes into an apartment and she sees a guy in the apartment. She panics, thinks it's her apartment, kills him. And she says it's self-defense and everything else. But again, even if it was self-defense, you're still in his apartment. There's no way that she's going to get out of this. She probably, I don't know what plea deal was offered her, but she probably should have taken it. So obviously his death garnered national attention. It sparked a wave of protests against racial bias, police use of excessive force, even though racial bias doesn't appear to have anything to do with this. Now, she said that she had been working a really long shift. I think she said it was like 12 hours. She's coming home. And I told you before when this happened, I have walked into other people's apartments by accident. I have had people walk into my apartment by accident when you live in those types of buildings, okay? It does happen. And it's rare, but it does occasionally happen. Now, I had instant questions about all of this. One of the questions that I had was if she had a relationship with this guy and maybe this had gone south. It doesn't appear to have been the case. But also, did she have to unlock the door? If so, her key probably wouldn't have worked. Was his door unlocked and then the key just did work? There should have been triggers that would have set off in her mind, something's wrong here. And maybe I'm not in the right place. But for whatever reason, that apparently didn't happen. This guy sees some strange person come into his house. He's going to jump up. Obviously, that's going to make anybody react. And as a result of him reacting, she drew her weapon and fatally shot him. He's totally innocent in all of this, okay? So, I mean, her defense was it was self-defense. He was coming at her. She feared for her safety. And, well, yeah, but you're in his apartment. So even if you legitimately feared for your safety, you're still in this man's home. You're in his house. You can't do that. So there was never going to be a way for her to be found not guilty. The only thing that could have potentially happened is maybe the jury didn't agree with the charge degree, and then that sort of thing might have happened. But I don't know how that works in Texas. So the case came to a close with an emotional 2-day sentencing hearing that included testimony from both the Geiger and Jean families. The jury deliberated for less than 90 minutes before determining Geiger's sentence, which begins immediately. She'll be eligible for parole in 5 years. Jean's little brother, Brant, gave a gut-wrenching victim statement after the sentencing, telling Geiger that he forgives her and wants the best for her. He then got Judge Tammy Kemp's permission to give her a hug. Now, this is powerful because I think that Jean's family understands that she didn't really mean to do this. It doesn't excuse her behavior. It doesn't excuse the fact that she walked into this man's apartment, didn't notice all of the telltale signs that this wasn't her place, and still killed him. But I think the family understands that this wasn't something that was premeditated and she didn't go out and try and actually do this, okay? Now, again, she'd been working a long shift. She was sexting with her former partner at the time, so she was also distracted. It's a terrible tragedy. But, you know, again, he offered forgiveness. He gave her a hug. I don't even want you to go to jail. I want the best for you because I know that's exactly what Botham would want. That's what the brother said, who's only 18 years old, by the way. Sounds like he's a well-established young man. At one point, Kemp also gave hugs to Jean's relatives and Geiger. offering both parties words of encouragement. Dozens of people expressed outrage over the sentence outside of the courtroom, with some shouting justice was not served. Why give her a murder conviction and then only give her 10 years? That's a slap in the face, one protester said. Well, because she didn't intend to murder the guy. She's in the wrong. Like I said, this is much more of a manslaughter type situation than anything. This isn't a murder situation. I know that people get those confused, and I know that different jurisdictions label things differently. She's responsible. She caused it, but she didn't mean to. Okay. That doesn't change the hurt that this family is feeling, her family as well, that this man is dead. I think the brother, who's only 18 years old, is showing far more maturity and clarity on the situation than a lot of the protesters outside who, let's be perfectly honest, many of them are just community organizers trying to get famous and get money. And they don't actually care about the families here. I don't believe that this was malicious in any way on her part. Like I said, her excuse has been, I was exhausted. And the defense also said, yeah, she was also distracted with sending lewd messages and stuff to her boyfriend. So it's not an excuse. You were tired and you were distracted, but you still walked into this man's home and you killed him. And as a result, you've got to go to jail. So she got 10 years, eligible for parole in 5. I would fully expect her to get that as long as she behaves. And then we'll talk about this in 5 more years where everybody starts discussing how inappropriate it was that she went into somebody's house. There's no doubt she's in the wrong, ladies and gentlemen, but she didn't set out there to kill this guy. It was a horrible misunderstanding, one that never should have happened and one that she should have seen all the signs with, but a misunderstanding nonetheless. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
All right, it's the news break, so we'll do it. There we go.
MNC News Time is 3:33. I'm Brooklyn Beatty in the MNC News Center. Local stories this afternoon. Police have arrested a woman in Georgia who was wanted for murder in Elkhart.
Iman Gregory, wanted in the murder of Ishmael Porter, was arrested last week in Atlanta.
Come on.
Joint effort between local police and the U.S. Marshals.
There we go.
Elkhart police found Porter with serious injuries at a home in the 300 block.
I can't believe that's been a year. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
It feels like it just happened, man.
Will get an initial hearing in Elkhart as soon as she's extradited out of Atlanta.
That's 95.3 MNC's Darren Wright reporting. The Van Buren County Sheriff's Department is investigating 2 deaths in Pawpaw. The bodies were discovered Wednesday in a home near the Glen Golf Club, but no other information was released. The investigation is ongoing.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
After an autopsy that was scheduled for
These damn people and their stupid...
freeze of the fall season will be here before you know it, and this year farmers aren't the only ones giving it a lot of attention.
Experts say the first hard freeze this year will be critical in killing off mosquitoes that are transferring the EEE virus to humans.
We'll see. We'll see how the hard freeze works.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
I remain skeptical.
Some experts say
Can I ask what you're calling about, please?
most of the mosquitoes, but those that have found shelter somewhere may require cooler weather to kill them. The first frosts and freezes tend to arrive in lower around May to late October.
That's 95.3.
Only because it's my birthday.
Yeah, okay, sure, I can get you on there, Ed.
Time is 3:35.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Rappaport. Casino giant MGM Resorts International to pay up to $800 million to victims of the Las Vegas mass shooting and their families. 58 people were killed, hundreds of others injured.
While nothing will be able to bring back the lives lost or undo the horror so many suffered on that day, this settlement will provide fair compensation.
Lead plaintiff's attorney Robert Eggman. Health officials in Delaware reporting their first death from a lung illness linked to vaping.
Vaping-associated illness has led to the deaths of at least 18 people in 15 states. In a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine, Mayo Clinic researchers say the injuries appear similar to exposures to toxic chemical fumes and poisonous gases.
Fox's Jonathan Seri, a handful of states banned flavored e-cigarettes and vaping products in response to the outbreak. America is listening to Fox News.
Weather sponsored by
His door was ajar. He said, okay. Somebody said the door was ajar, and she thought somebody was in there.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Just a few sprinkles throughout the afternoon. That would be about it. Otherwise, it's cloudy and breezy. It'll feel like fall temperatures drop from the mid and upper 60s.
I didn't follow the trial real closely. I knew she was going to be convicted, but when the story first broke, we didn't have that information, and I remember being like, what the hell? How did that? So, thank you.
Close to even for the grain markets today. This is the Hoosier Ag Today midday farm market update. The open was a reversal for the markets.
Those are little skulls too on my shirt.
But in the end, only a penny gain in the corn market.
My wife and mom found that yesterday, and my daughter got to give it to me last night as an initial present, since they wanted me to wear it today.
Quarter point lower December wheat.
Yeah, I think she had been on shit for like 12 hours or something. Comment.
She just got off her morning.
Yeah, it was a long shift. She was tired, and she was distracted by sexting messages to her boyfriend.
The defense was, well, she just got off her shift, and it's a really stressful job and everything. Yeah. Well,
yeah. And again, all of those things are true, and it certainly does happen that you can, in those types of buildings, you can accidentally walk into somebody's house. Like I said, it's happened to me, and I've had it happen. I've had people walk in on me like at least 2 times over the years. So it does happen, but it doesn't change the fact that you're in somebody else's dwelling and you killed them. You know, even if you weren't intending to and you legitimately thought you were in your own place, that doesn't all of a sudden make it a self-defense case. Thank you, Bossy. Appreciate it. That's just it, B-dubs. If the eggs are infected, you're going to have them next year, too. Now, the Farmer's Almanac is predicting a really cold winter, so we'll see how that, and they're predicting a butt ton of snow for northern Midwest and Northeast. We're supposed to get nailed this year. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, you environmentalists out there, the Farmer's Almanac is way more accurate than any of the things that you say. So I tend to believe it a little bit more.
See them all around town. Cintas trucks and their service reps taking care of customers. When companies use Cintas,
well, you know, she was talking too much.
Fire protection and first aid and safety programs handles their apparel solutions.
I just posted last night. Thank you in advance. I posted like right at midnight because I'm gonna get way too many birthday wishes that are gonna come through. So I was just like, I'll just thank you now. And I'll thank you all at the end of the day too.
When you think of Goodwill, you probably think about donating your
Most people are actually staying within a birthday post from Karen instead of posting new birthday wishes. So that's helping to keep my timeline at least a little clean. Thank you, Burp. I appreciate it.
You recycle responsibly and help all of us by protecting the environment from the toxic.
I have not seen the new South Park yet. No. And I think I'm still a couple of episodes behind, actually, from last season. But see, the thing with South Park is, like, they go away for so long. They go away for, like, 2 years, and then they come back. And it's like, you're always kind of lost as when they're actually running new episodes. So I do have to take a look at it. I do love my South Park. Because it's amazing. Huh? I didn't say you said it was bad. Jesus. God, you're high maintenance. What the hell?
I'm high maintenance.
Yes. I'm a pretty easy guy. Give me lots of money and lots of attention and then leave me alone. See? See how easy that is? Well, you may not have to deal with me much longer, Joe.
You say that.
I do say that. I don't know what's going to happen next week. I'm not sure if I'm in calm phase or chair throwing phase yet. I don't know where I'm at. So I guess we'll find out. Oh. Oh, man.
We're growing too. Apply today online at Bethel University.
What a day.
Or just text study to 45364.
Save big money on your fall home improvement projects now during Menards Oktoberfest sale. Right now, over 120 stocks.
Homeless woman gets recording contract after video of her singing opera in a subway goes viral. Where have we seen this story before? Remember that guy who had the golden voice, got all famous and rich again? And what happened? He blew it all on substance abuse again. And he's right back to where he started, last I heard. Democratic Congresswoman screams the NRA has got to go during town hall at a gun range. It probably wasn't the best place to say that. I guess they're saying that Bernie Sanders will go to the next debate where everybody is going to pick on how old he is.
By committee to re-elect Mary Olson.
From the final phase,
All right, I gotta get this off. It pinches too much. Here we go.
Industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. By the way, thank you to, I didn't follow this trial with Amber Geiger real close, but thank you to the people who sent message and said apparently his door was ajar. So appreciate that. So she sees the door's kind of cracked open, and then she just assumes that's her place. She walks in. And like I said, she didn't notice the furniture and things like that. She immediately went into somebody's in my home mode and went in there, saw him, and that's when the fatal encounter happened. But I appreciate the information. Thank you. Anyway, 574-25-95-95.3. Back to the phone lines we go. Ed, welcome to the program. Good afternoon. Hello, Ed.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go. We got you now. What's up?
Yeah, you got sound in the background there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yes.
What's on your mind, Ed?
I don't know what's wrong.
Okay. All right. We'll just have to drop you. Go ahead and call back, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get you back on if you want to come back on. Sorry. At that point, he apparently couldn't hear me. Don't really know what was going on. All right, 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. Can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. So yesterday, we went ahead and told you that the new UCR is out. The Uniform Crime Report happens in usually late September to mid-October is when it's released every year by the FBI. Found out that violent crime, I should say murders are down, gun crime down, and less than 300 people were killed with rifles of all kinds last year, which is, again, counterintuitive to the narrative that they try and weave. But a new report also came out and said that 1.4 million more Americans have concealed carry permits than last year, which is a record number. We have never had this many people. The Crime Prevention Research Center released a report Wednesday revealing that nearly 19 million Americans have concealed carry permits, which is up 1.4 million compared to the same time last year. So it's a year-over-year increase of about 8%. And we continue to see more and more people getting this. More and more people continuing to get their concealed carry permit, license, however you want to phrase it, depending on where you are. And it continues to show a correlation with a decrease in crimes. Now, here's where things get interesting. Alabama came in first with nearly 26% of its gun owners holding concealed carry permits. Indiana is number 2. So Indiana is number 2 with 18%. And South Dakota is third with 16% of the population have a concealed carry permit. There you go. All right, so we got Ed back. Ed, welcome to the program.
Hello.
There we go. Much better.
Yeah, I could. Okay. All right. I wanted to make a comment. Now, you are one of my favorite conservative commentators, but I have to respectfully disagree with your opinion on this murder trial.
Okay.
The outcome.
Okay.
I think two things. One is, doesn't it in law, I'm not a lawyer, but in law isn't it important intent and motive? Now, her intent surely, if I don't know all the details, but it looks like she didn't intend to kill this person,
Correct.
number one.
Right.
Number two, isn't murder kind of a severe charge for something like this? I mean, let's just take a hypothetical case.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that she was approaching a armed person that was coming after her to hurt her. She pulled out a gun, and all of a sudden an innocent person walked into her path, and she shot and killed him. Now, wouldn't she would not, certainly not be tried for something like that, would she? I just think it's a severe punishment and a severe charge for something like that.
No,
That's
and this is where my ignorance of Texas law, I'm trying to look it up real quick and see, because it says murder, and it's more of a, that's what I was saying earlier, it's more of a manslaughter type situation, but in many places they have a manslaughter-like degree of murder, but they still call it murder. But she was facing up to 99 years, and so some people are like, well, how can you convict her of murder and then only give her 10? And I think that's because the courts looked at this and they said, clearly this wasn't a premeditated murder, like you were talking about, that this is a manslaughter type situation. She didn't set out to kill anybody. It's a horrible accident, horrible mistake, but she's still liable and she's responsible for it. Let's see. Texas does not officially use the term second-degree murder, which can sometimes be a little bit confusing. Instead, the equivalent in Texas is known as just murder, which is a first-degree felony. To convict a defendant of murder, prosecutors must be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally, knowingly caused the death of another person, defendant intended to cause serious bodily injury, and committed an act that was clearly dangerous to human life. And that's probably what her defense team was arguing. There's a second-degree murder defense type thing there too. So they don't do it. I think they were going after for instead of it being like a first-degree murder, it was a murder. But yeah, I guess Texas apparently has some confusing laws with this. But yeah, I think most people would tend to agree with you that this wasn't premeditated. She didn't want to set out to kill somebody, but they charge her with murder. So then at that point, her team is arguing, well, no, this is actually an accident, which would be more of a manslaughter type thing. So I think this is more just us not knowing the Texas legal system, and perhaps they overcharged, and then the courts corrected that by handing down not 99 years, but 10 years with parole and 5.
Well, I appreciate your comments on it. Do you think that's a fair sentence for what you did? And morally, I mean, not by Texas law, but 10 years for an accidental.
She went into somebody else. Yeah, she went into somebody else's house and she killed him. I think she's got to be held accountable for that. And I think more than likely she's going to be facing 5. You know, as long as she behaves, doesn't get into trouble, which can be difficult for somebody who used to be law enforcement going behind bars, because people are going to try and mess with her. And of course, she defends herself. She can get in trouble that way. But I think you've got to pay for taking somebody's life when they didn't do anything wrong. And that, you know, there are situations where you have like a mutual combat where two parties are fighting each other and one dies and they didn't mean to, where I think that you would easily argue for a lower sentence where, you know, obviously the other person wanted to engage in conflict as well. But this is a guy who was just sitting down in his apartment, minding his own business, and he got shot to death. So I think she's got to answer for that. And I think, a 10-year sentence with possibility of parole and 5, I would say that that's probably fair.
All right. Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, and that's okay. And like I said, I think that the brother of this guy, this 18-year-old, I think he's the one that's thinking about this the best way possible, where he's like, I know you didn't mean to do this, and I understand that, this was a horrible accident, and he gave her a hug, and he said that he wishes that she didn't go to jail at all, but, I think under the law, you can't have people accidentally going into other people's houses and killing them without them having to go behind bars for something. So, again, respectful disagreement there, but that's just where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, we are a system of laws, and if Texas has those kinds of laws and they applied them, I guess we have to respect it.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Yeah, apparently this murder in Texas is a first-degree felony. The charge will typically carry a sentence of between 5 and 99 years. So what Texas does is they basically just have murder, and then the courts will use their flexibility in sentencing to determine what severity the murder is, as opposed to other states which have a more rigid sort of a tiered system. Texas basically says, we've got murder, and then from 5 to 99 years, we'll determine how egregious your crime was. All right, we got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Get breaking news text alerts direct to your smartphone. Details at 95.3 MNC.
Yeah, I'm way late on that, but
Casey Hendrickson.
it was a good call, though. I like respectful disagreements with me. I just don't get a lot of them.
If they had a manslaughter, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, and they don't have first degree and they don't have manslaughter.
That's where the intent comes in as. Like, if they did not intend to kill the person.
Right.
Like car accidents, for example. Most of the time.
Well, in a lot of states, too, you have manslaughter laws, but then you have vehicular manslaughter. And it's so the tiered system get really rigid. So Texas apparently just has, it's not first-degree murder, it's just murder, and then we'll determine in sentencing how severe it was. So, it gives the courts great flexibility in determining how bad of a person you are, which, frankly, could be argued is a direction we need to go.
Mostly cloudy skies return for Saturday. Any rain is after sunset and Saturday night. Sunday looks dry, temperatures in the mid-60s, sun and clouds on Monday, highs again in the 60s. From the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Meteorologist.
Where the hell is my phone?
Oh, it's way over there.
I mean, I get why people don't want her to go to jail. I mean, I understand that. You know, she didn't mean to do it. But you still got a guy basically sitting in his place eating ice cream, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and shoots him to death. I mean, it's like, you know, you've got to pay for that, in my opinion.
General admission tickets are on sale now for just $40. We do offer group discounts too. Each attendee will get a copy of Brian's brand new book, Sam Houston. That is a pre-release copy. You'll actually have that before the public can buy it. And tickets are available now at 953mnc.com or at the 953 MNC Studios at 237 West Edison Road in Mishawaka. We do take cash or card. Again, that is Saturday, November 2nd, presented by Final Phase Electric and 95.3 MNC.
Your breaking news and weather station.
When those giant scissors come out for a grand opening
Scissors.
it's the staff that's in the photo. Behind the scenes,
Speaking of South Park.
industrial field are numerous contractors tirelessly taking
First world problems, too many birthday wishes. Tell me about it.
on schedule and on budget. From the very first step to the final phase, you need the trusted experience of a team who knows how to get the job done. Final Phase Electric has the tools and the experience to make your dreams a reality, and can step in at any time to assess your project with a level of unmatched precision that throws guesswork out the window. We believe in positive results through positive people, and we're positive that we can help you with your industrial project. One call does it all. 574-522-4444.
Man, this chick is screaming it, too.
4444. Let us take the guesswork out of your project and help you sleep easy. You've got better things to do. Let us hook you up. Find Final Phase Electric on Facebook or visit finalphaseelectric.net.
Hi.
Cue my audio, please. They ran her ass out of there. Damn.
Represents a commitment for a lifetime, a special anniversary, or the welcoming of a new family member.
God, why is this so quiet?
Forget the items from previous generations. Often
What is up with these people not equalizing their audio?
I hear it's just not my taste now, or I don't wear yellow gold anymore. So this jewelry ends up hidden away and forgotten. Did you know that the simple changes can make all the difference? At Hopman Jewelers, we can move a diamond from your old setting to a new one, or reset your diamonds into a pendant and earrings. And we can combine your diamonds and gemstones from many items into one special piece. So bring your items to us for a free consult.
And to do this right after the UCR comes out. What a moron.
It's Heidi Summers.
How long are we going to have when we come back?
I get so many emails and calls about CBD, the incredible oil from the hemp plant that's being used
So we come back after this then?
to millions for joint discomfort, inflammation, and nagging injuries. It's the most talked about alternative health breakthrough in years. The
Oh, that's
CBD
right.
product I always
59.50.
recommend
Duh.
comes from CBD Labs.
Do,
The gold
do,
standard
do,
of
do.
CBD Labs oil goes to work fast to relieve your discomfort and deliver the results one thought nearly impossible without a prescription. This powerful oil is not marijuana and contains no THC.
Well, for those of you who are interested, I will be in the shop making SPK teas this weekend.
Don't be fooled by all the imitators. Call now
And
and find out how to
if
get
you
a free
want to
bottle
get
of
your
Bonnie
hands
Live
on them, I would encourage you to act fast because every time I make a batch, they sell quickly. Very, very
Free
quickly.
bottles for limited time. Call now. 800-605-3136. 800-605-3136.
Yeah, there is a huge issue with YouTube's chats today.
They've been around a long time.
It's causing lots of problems for me on the back end.
If there's any kind of a fault or anything with the equipment, they
On my dashboard on YouTube, and it's coming from YouTube and it appears to be affecting my dashboard on my streaming software. I'll go like 10 minutes without getting an update on any chat messages. And then all of a sudden it feeds everybody through. So if I miss a bunch of your messages, then there you go. All right, Bree wants to see my hat. Here you go, Bree. There you go, sweetheart. There's my hat. Yeah, it's just not uploading all of the messages at all. So.
This scary good deal won't last forever. So go to mydealsmichiana.com and grab 2 Niles Haunted House tickets for the price of 1 before it's too late. That's mydealsmichiana.com.
We're your home for the Sean Hannity Show. Weeknight 6 till
All right, I'll leave it on for this segment.
News Talk 95.3 Michigan's News Channel. Your breaking news
News and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. If you want to see me with an actual button-up shirt and a tiara, you can go to the live stream right now. Go to youtube.com/Casey the host, or you can go to twitch.tv/Casey the host. While you're there on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and then click that bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. If you're on Twitch, you can follow or subscribe, especially if you have Amazon Prime. In fact, I had a listener the other day said, I've got Amazon Prime and I got a free subscription to Twitch with your name on it. And they were awesome enough to subscribe to my channel on Twitch. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. So again, YouTube or Twitch at Casey the host. And you can also follow me on Facebook, Parler at Casey the host, on Instagram at ASD Knives. All right, 574-25-95-95-3. A couple of people still asking me, like, well, there's murder 1, murder 2, and then manslaughter. Which one was she charged with? That's not how the system works in Texas, which is why everybody's a little confused, including myself. Texas just kind of has this murder thing, and then they give you 5 to 99 years. So the sentencing kind of determines how egregious your crime was. They don't do murder 1 or anything like that in Texas. I think they might have a murder 2, but I don't know. But they specifically do not have a murder 1. All right, we got a lot to cover today. More coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
WTRC-FM and HD1, Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your top stories right now.
Well, that was an interesting new liner. All right. Okay, Bree saw it. There we go. Oh. All right, I'm going to go grab a refill. I'll be right back.
President Trump denies wrongdoing and says his accusers are playing politics.
And that's why they do the impeachment crap, because they know they can't beat us fairly. That's the only reason. They can't win. They can't.
This as he pledges to protect Medicare. Fox's John Decker is live at the White House.
President Trump at a retirement community in Central Florida signed an executive order that he said would improve private Medicare plans for seniors.
This order is the latest step in my administration's drive to ensure the world's best health care for all Americans.
The executive order is intended to bolster Medicare Advantage, which is private Medicare insurance for seniors, and would also offer more affordable plan options. The president spent most of the speech policies of the 2020 Democratic presidential contenders. Lisa?
John, a partial rebound on Wall Street. The Dow up 124 at the closing bell. A wild ride, though, after a disappointing report on the service sector.
It's my birthday, so I will have some mini candy bars, and you all will deal with it. I just don't want to hear anybody's shit. I'm just on your carnivore diet, Casey. Shut up. It's my birthday.
Business Network's Jerry Willis at the New York Stock Exchange. The Fed meets later this month. The September jobs report is due out tomorrow. America is listening to Fox News.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
I really don't like the new Butterfinger colors. You don't like Butterfingers?
I'm not a big peanut butter dude.
It's not really peanut butter, though.
Yeah, but it's like peanut butter, and that's close.
It's like this weird neon yellow. It's like safety yellow. Like, it's not supposed to be that yellow. All right, I'm done. I don't really like cake.
Attorney General Curtis Hill confirmed that to reporters today. The only new information was that the fetal remains did come with paper records.
There were records that we were able to identify by identifying marks and references, so that a paper reference could be.
Joe doesn't like Butterfingers because he's anti-American. Thank you, Val.
They will eventually dispose of the remains, or how information will be released to the public from here on out is unknown. The AG's office has set up a hotline for people that think they may be personally impacted. You can find more on our website. And we've got a 95.3 MNC consumer alert. Check your chicken. Lipari Foods has recalled some of their chicken salad products due to concerns about possible mistakes.
Okay, did the zombie thing pop up again without a message? Oh, thank you, Burroughs. I appreciate it, because that's supposed to have a message, and I fixed it, and it is just not working for some reason. And there's Tracy with the carnivore diet. I'm off the diet today. Although my breakfast was really carnivore friendly. Yeah, so that zombie thing is supposed to have... Thank you for the sub, though. I really do appreciate it. That zombie thing is supposed to have all of your info. And I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why it's giving me problems. I'm going to redo it right now just to look at it, okay?
Just a few sprinkles throughout the afternoon. That would be about it. Otherwise, it's cloudy and...
Well, I gave text there, but
temperatures drop from the mid and upper 60s.
I should probably change it up.
Low 60s and upper 50s by dinner time. 48 for a low tonight. Barely making it to...
Oh, the candy vorb. This is what I get for not going to sleep last night, Tracy. Holy crap. I'm so friggin' tired.
Just ask for us on Alexa, Google,
How I can't get in the swing of things at all.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather.
Which means I'm not going to be fun.
CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. I've got great news. Mortgage interest rates have dropped. So if you're thinking about buying a home, right now is the time to lock that low rate, even before you find the home of your dreams. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk
All right,
to us
hour
today
2,
at
right?
800
Hour
or
2.
go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years,
1/3 through this bad boy.
highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For JD Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states.
All right, Tracy, take care. Appreciate it.
When you think of Goodwill, you probably think about donating your clothing and household items, which is great. But what about those old computers? Have you looked around lately? Chances are there's an old PC stuffed in your closet or your basement. Could be there's another at work waiting to be recycled. By donating your used computers, you not only help put people to work, you recycle responsibly and help all of us by protecting the environment from the toxic waste inside computer equipment. It's a free service by Dell Reconnect and Goodwill. You can donate computers, monitors, scanners, printers, working or not. They'll accept just about anything that can be connected to a computer. Bring it all to a drive-through donation center at your nearest Goodwill retail store. Remember, it's free and you'll get a tax receipt. Get more
So I'm going to be doing the mornings and the afternoons for St. Margaret's House this year.
Final phase Electric Studios. From the first step to
Ugh.
the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right.
I'm going to be pooped and cranky.
This is Casey Hendrickson.
So you'll be pooped.
95.3 Michiana's News Channel.
Basically.
Your breaking
News and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News Channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595, 95.3. That is 2595953. You can also send a text message to 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. We are live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host right now. If you want to go ahead and pick your platform and go hang out with the crowd out there. And by the way, all of those comments, if you post on YouTube or you post on Twitch, they all feed through to the video and everybody can see them. So you're not just interacting with people on that platform. So you can pick whichever one, honestly, that you want. If you want to just follow me on Facebook or Parler, it's also at Casey the Host. On Instagram, it's at ASD Knives. On Instagram, I don't really do the political thing. It's kind of like my venue away from politics. I do knives, kydex, holsters, sheaths, things like that, 3D printing, and memes. That's kind of what I do on Instagram. So it's a little bit more laid back, if you will. All right. What do we have here? Class action lawsuits. Now, there's been a lot of stories about child protective services that are out there. There's a lot of lawsuits across the country about CPS all over the U.S. inappropriately targeting families and taking children away from their families without due cause, without any reason whatsoever to do that, causing great harm to kids. And this is all over the country. There's a lot of articles written about this in the past couple of months, but this is a class action lawsuit against CPS in Illinois. Apparently, they took newborns at birth after parents legally opted out of vitamin K shots. Several parents in Illinois have filed a lawsuit against the state's Department of Children and Family Services, affiliated agents, doctors, nurses, and major hospitals who they say worked in coordination to either take their newborns or threaten to after they chose not to have the elective vitamin K shot administered to their babies right after birth. One situation at the heart of the suit is that of Pastor Brian Barr and his wife Angela, whose fifth child, Glory. After 5 kids, I would assume they know what they're doing. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, I would assume that they know what they're doing with their kids. Glory was seized by doctors for more than 12 hours after the couple chose to legally opt out of having their daughter being injected with vitamin K immediately after being born. The couple maintains that they aren't anti-vaxxers and the vitamin K shot is not a vaccine, but they have chosen for religious reasons to not have any of their kids get the shot. Their first 4 children were born in Wisconsin. As news of their and other stories got out, additional families hopped on board, infuriated over being victims of medical professionals working in coordination with and reportedly paid by DCFS to root out what the agency considered to be potential indicators for medical neglect. Now, keep in mind, vitamin K is not a vaccine, and even if this were a vaccine, we would still be having the same discussion. According to a report from PJ Media's Megan Fox, who has been fervent in her coverage of such abuses, doctors are often hired and paid by child protective agencies who aggressively diagnose accidental injuries as abuse and often accuse mothers of Munchausen's disease syndrome, I should say, by proxy, or narcissistic personality disorder form afar, sometimes without having treated the mother, in order to allow DCFS or other CPS agencies to remove their children. Now, again, I need you to understand there are many articles with thousands of people who are making this case, including kids who are now old enough to testify, and that this has been a long-standing thing. We're not talking about a very small, minute number of individuals. We are talking about thousands of people across the U.S. A year ago, DCFS changed its policy, acknowledging, according to the Chicago Tribune, that making that kind of determination falls outside the confines of our statutory professional mission and judgment. You think? Taking kids away from parents because they don't do an elective shot, that might somehow fall outside of the confines of your job description? An internal memo sent out by the agency's acting director at the time pointed to the fact that out of 138 families investigated for choosing not to have their babies get the vitamin K shot. Here's the thing. It's a vitamin K shot. Okay? This isn't the biggest thing in the world, right? It's a vitamin K shot. And 138 families were investigated for child neglect simply because they didn't, when the state doesn't even require you to get the shot. And if they did require you to get the shot, we would be having a whole different discussion here. But the state doesn't require this shot. It's elective. And if you elect not to have it, the state should not, therefore, treat you like a criminal. And that's exactly what they did. So 138 families were investigated for neglect simply because they refused the elective vitamin K shot. There were only 7 cases where officials could find any evidence of potential medical neglect. So 7 out of 138. I don't know the circumstances of those 7, by the way. And there's probably a good reason to believe that the number is even smaller than 7. Even parents whose children were not seized complained of being investigated and harassed for months by DSFS with the threat of having their children put into state care or worse, adopted out. In the meantime, the plaintiffs haven't forgotten the shakedown that they received from the agencies and hospitals' employees. According to the local station, WBBM-TV, they interviewed 2 sets of these parents who say that they never get back what should have been joyous moments taken from them as a part of this illegal policy, which you can imagine. I mean, that's obviously, you're having a brand new child, whether it's your first, second, fifth, doesn't really matter, but you're having this brand new child. Those first weeks are critical for the baby and the parents to form that bond. Absolutely critical. Now, obviously, you can overcome that, but it's hugely critical. And when you take that away from people, because you're breaking the law, and let's be honest, the state of Illinois was breaking the law here, you have caused great harm. The vitamin K shot has been recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics and regularly administered to newborns since the 1960s for the purpose of preventing a rare bleeding disorder. A rare bleeding disorder. A rare bleeding disorder. Now, our society is continuing to do this. Things that are statistically not likely to happen, we are mandating that you screen for, treat for, what have you, even though the likelihood of it ever materializing in your child is extraordinarily rare. And in many cases, initially, those vaccines sometimes can be as potentially harmful or even more harmful until they get the formulation under control. Casey, you're an anti-vaxxer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I have covered this for a number of years, and the United Nations has finally acquiesced and agreed. The World Health Organization agrees with me on many of these shots because it took a while where some of these shots, brand new, got news for you, new vaccinations can have unintended consequences, and it takes a while to get that formulation fine. So if you have a parent who's a little skeptical of a new vaccination out there, people should stop giving them grief. Now, if we're talking about something that's been around for decades and statistically has negligible to no side effects or ill effects on people, when you have people saying, we're not going to take that vaccination. Yeah, I get you raising the alarm there. They're not your kids, but I get you at least raising the alarm. But new vaccinations have a long and storied history of causing negative health effects on their test subjects, which are your kids. Let's be perfectly honest. Parents who choose not to have the shot given to their babies are allowed to fill out a form acknowledging their decision, which adds further confusion for parents who have been punished by states such as Illinois that offer a form at the ready for parents who decline the recommended procedure. Again, it's been around since the 1960s, okay, but it's an elective thing. It's not necessary, and it's meant to prevent something that is extremely rare, okay? So if a parent says, yeah, we're not going to do that, it's unlikely that this is going to happen anyway, and it's not required by the state, they shouldn't be investigated for child neglect. But that is exactly what was happening in Illinois, and now there's a class action lawsuit as a result of it, and I say, good. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 26 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people. Visit Prime Table today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, 5-day forecast.
Well, fall has arrived, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Mother Nature finally delivering true fall-like weather with highs
Gonna be in the 50s
in the 60s. Let's start with today.
tomorrow or the day after.
Upper 60s early this afternoon. The showers come to an end by noon. But then we fall with northwest winds getting a little on the breezy side later this afternoon. Temperatures will be much cooler by dinner time than they will be at lunchtime. 48 tonight, 60 on Friday with sun and clouds. Mostly cloudy.
Michiana's news channel. Would you like to talk to Casey?
After sunset and Saturday night. Sunday looks dry. Temperatures in the mid-60s. Sun and clouds on Monday. Highs again in the 60s. From the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Tyler Seabury.
Hey, it's Casey Hendrickson on the drive home. Weekday afternoons, 3 till 6.
All right.
And local with my
Yep,
perspective
I'll get that
and
out there
your
as soon as
opinion
I can.
about the big issues that develop during the workday. And at 5:50 each afternoon, it's Bill O'Reilly.
This one bypasses back up and down near 19.
Bypass near 19.
Drive home with Casey Hendrickson, weekday afternoons at 5:50 on
Take care of Burroughs. Oh, wait, no, Burroughs didn't leave. Tracy left. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
My name is Dave Titus with International RV in Elkhart, Indiana. You know, one of the things that we see people that are really concerned with is whether they can actually afford an RV or not. They see these big things going down the road, and oh my gosh, I could never have one of those. And we have units that start at around $100 a month. It's all about the fun, sitting around the campfire with your wife in the evening, or with your kids, or taking that stroll on the beach, or having that private weekend that it really didn't cost you hardly any money, but you had a great time. We'll do any type of service, warranty, repair, whether it be from a small appliance repair.
You realize every time the stock market is down a little bit, there's breaking news alerts everywhere. Stock market is down. Stock market is down. Under fear that there's an economic decline, and that's one day. But every time it happens, we get that. And then the next day, every single time the stocks are back up, and then there's no breaking news alerts that the stocks are up. You notice that? And everybody's like, oh yeah, hey, they rebounded today from yesterday. Yeah, so stop friggin' fear-mongering on the economy, people. Every single time. Every damn time.
Call me at 574-294-5678. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location. I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy even more. Call me at 574-294-5678. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant will pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying damaged houses too. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574-294-5678.
It's Heidi Summers, health and wellness expert with your local health update. I get so many emails and calls about CBD, the incredible oil from the hemp plant that's being used to provide relief to
Everybody's message on Facebook is now just coming into me.
It's the most talked about.
It sat there unupdated for like 8 minutes.
The CBD product I always recommend comes from CBD Labs, the gold standard of CBD. CBD Labs oil goes to work fast to relieve your discomfort and deliver the results one thought nearly impossible without a prescription. This powerful oil is not marijuana and contains no THC, the ingredient that gets you high. Oh yeah, CBD Labs oil has also been used to help thousands get a great night's sleep. Don't be fooled by all the imitators. Call now and find out how to get a free bottle while supplies last.
To get your free bottle of CBD Lab CBD oil, call 800-920-5051. That's 800-920-5051. Free bottles for a limited time. Call now. 800-920-5051. 800-920-5051.
Your local Versatile dealer, Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment in Wakarusa, has the new Versatile Front Wheel Assist tractor in stock. The Versatile Front Wheel Assist has a new style for better visibility and maximum in-field performance. Available with 265 through 365 engine horsepower, the Versatile Front Wheel Assist features a smooth shifting 16-speed full power shift transmission. The cab is designed for operator comfort and features a climate control, movable right-hand console, and single lever shifting. Check out the restyled Versatile Front Wheel Assist at Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment, your Versatile dealer in Wakarusa. At Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment, we believe hard work doesn't have to be hard or expensive, and having the right tools will help make hard work easier and more economical. Our experienced team members will work with you to find the Versatile tractor that best fits your needs. We also offer a full line of parts and certified service technicians. Depend on the power and simplicity of the Versatile Front Wheel Assist at Weaver Ag and Lawn Equipment, where hard work comes to get done. Find us online at weaveragandlawn.com.
I'm Sean Haas, an Army veteran, teacher, husband, and father, running as Republican for mayor of South Bend. 50 years of one party
Copyright
has left
strike.
our city with a soaring crime rate.
President?
Jobs, broken roads, and
I don't know.
schools. My opponent wants
Oh,
to
it's on
destroy
Twitter.
the
You wouldn't
safety
know.
policies of Mayor Pete.
Nope.
As mayor, I will fight to restore the safety of our streets, revitalize our schools, and ensure that our city is rebuilt in a way that we can all prosper. On November 5th, let's not have another repeat. Vote for me, Sean Haas for mayor. Paid for by the committee to elect Sean Haas for mayor.
David Steinberg, the ex-manager of Robin Williams, joins us Friday morning at 8:20 on New York for you on News Talk 95.3 MC.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host. Go check those out. Make sure you like and subscribe while you are there. Phone number 574-25-95-95.3. That is 2595-953. 95.3 MNC. And Final Phase Electric are officially kicking off the countdown to the 2020 presidential election with the 4th annual noise on Saturday, November 2nd at Center 615 in Elkhart. Special guests are Fox News and 95.3 MNC host Brian Kilmeade. He's also a best-selling author. Townhall.com editor, Fox News contributor, and best-selling author Katie Pavlich is going to be joining us after many years of trying to get her, finally able to get her into town. Brian's excited about it. We're really excited about it. And for those of you who know who Katie Pavlich is, you're really excited about it. If you don't know who she is, I encourage you to seek her out online. She is amazing, and she's going to be a great addition to the Noise lineup this year. General admission tickets are on sale now for just $40. Everybody who attends will get one copy of Brian's brand new book, Sam Houston. That is a pre-release copy. You'll be able to get this book before it is available to the public. And again, VIPs are sold out. I told you not to wait. You did. I'm sorry you did, but you still have an opportunity to join us on November 2nd with general admission tickets, which are $40. And I would encourage you not to wait on that also. We sell out every single year, so you should act now. If you have a group, whether it's a large family, whether it's a company, we always have companies that end up bringing people. If you are maybe an organization, club, what have you, college Republicans, whatever, we have group rates. So pull your resources, contact us, and we'll give you that group rate and help get you in at a little bit less than if you were to buy the tickets individually. Again, they are available at 953mnc.com or the MNC studios during normal business hours at 237 West Edison Road in Mishawaka. We take cash and card. Again, that is Saturday, November 2nd, presented by Final Phase Electric and 95.3 MNC. It is going to be a good time like it is every single year, and I look forward to seeing you there this year as well. All right, so I wanted to give you this other story that I've had since the beginning. It's actually been a month, September 3rd. Parents protested alleged injustices of Child Protective Services. This is in California. Now, the story we just had was abuses by the CPS of Illinois. This is in California. They staged a demonstration at the Capitol in Sacramento to protest perceived injustice on the part of Child Protective Service agencies against families across the United States. Bay Area Families United is partnering with more than 30 groups nationwide to stage... Oh, wait. No, the rally is happening tomorrow. The announcement was last month. I didn't realize it was scheduled for tomorrow. October 4th rally, which organizers hope will shed light on the disenfranchisement of parents by what they view as a profit-driven system that incentivized to place children in foster care. The rally is slated for noon local time. That was in California again, but this is a nationwide thing on October 4th. Okay, so that's tomorrow. I started protesting after I got my son back, said Adolfo Gonzalez, the rally's chief organizer, to the Epoch Times, saying that CPS conspired with the mother and the police department to take my son. I expect thousands of parents at the event, he said. Right now, we are at 35 groups and growing. Again, this is last month. So many people want to come from LA, San Diego, Fresno. I have so many strong advocates flying in, including a documentary crew. The sheriff just called me and said that we have to increase presence because there's going to be a pro-CPS group to protest you guys, Gonzalez said. They said that we're going to need more sheriffs to guard you. That's what Gonzalez was telling the media. CPS is legally kidnapping children, said Tony Triano of Boise, Idaho, noting that she's flying to Sacramento for the October 4th rally. It's picking up momentum with advocates and victims across the country. People are saying enough is enough. There's so much corruption and people are tired of it. I think CPS needs to be shut down. Now, I'm not in that category. I don't think it needs to be shut down. But how many times over the 14 years that I have been doing this show have we done stories of CPS abuse? And a lot of this comes with the free range parents. You know, the parents who actually let their kids play outside, like across the street at the park. And then all of a sudden the cops show up and your kid is taken away from you and you've got to go to court. You've got to go to parenting classes and all this stuff just because your kid played outside. And then those same people complain that your kids don't ever go play outside. Well, they can't. If you send them outside, the police show up and you could lose your children. So, yeah, you can't do that. I also had this other story that I told you about a while ago. This was back in January, February, March, April, May of this year, that police raids were being used to enforce custody orders, but they were actually sending back kids to abusive parents. And there was a whole host of things that were happening there where they were raiding homes and taking kids who had escaped abusive parents with the other parent, and they were being sent back to the abusive parent. And, of course, they were being victimized again. Some of those kids got seriously hurt. Many parents expressed contempt for the Adoption and Safe Families Act signed by President Bill Clinton in 1997, which mandates that states terminate most parents' rights after their children spend 15 months in foster care. Activists also bristle at the lucrative opportunities available for foster parents, courtesy of the states, and at family court mandates that parents must cover their court costs throughout their custody battles. Okay, now I want to make very clear here. There's a lot of kids that do not belong in the house where they were birthed. Okay, that's simple. And they have to be taken away from that environment. I know many of you are foster parents out there. I work with people who are foster families. I cannot tell you how it's envious isn't, but proud of the work that you do is. You're stepping up to take care of kids. I can't do that. I don't have the patience. I just don't. And some of the stuff that you people have to deal with and taking these children in to protect them from harm is awe-inspiring. I want that to be crystal clear. But as we have just highlighted over the past several months in the Illinois case, in this case here in California, and many times in the past, there are undeniable problems with child protective service agencies all throughout the country, and a lot of these problems are initiated for profit, such as the vitamin K stuff that was happening in Illinois. There is no reason to take children away from parents for not doing an elective vitamin K shot at birth, except for they were being hired. These doctors are being hired to do this and paid to force these shots. So again, there is absolutely a monetary thing. Where we had an issue in Indiana, remember you go back, what was this, 6 years ago? 5-6 years ago, Indiana had a major problem with child protective services placing children in abusive foster homes. Abusive foster homes that people knew were abusive foster homes, where kids had been reportedly abused many times before, and the Indiana Child Protective Services was still placing children there. And then we had several kids die. And when we had that one absolutely horrendous case, I forget the child's name, but we covered it it was one of the only things that we talked about for probably a month. And every time there was an update, everybody talked about it. And this poor child had repeatedly had broken limbs and eventually was killed by the foster family. And Indiana's Child Protective Services knew that these allegations existed. They didn't properly investigate. They didn't properly do those inspections. And that child died. As a result, we had a lot of reforms that came through. But for many years, Indiana Child Protective Services had actually been endangering more kids than they were saving. Now, hopefully that is not the case now. And again, it did spur a lot of reforms. But while a lot of these parents, I can appreciate how angry they are because they've been abused by the system and their children have been taken from them. And I would probably behave the same way if my kids were taken from me as well. But there is an absolute necessity for these types of services. It's just that we apparently, at the state level throughout the country, have not done a good enough job for many of these agencies to enforce that the agencies themselves are not abusing people, not just protecting kids from abuse. That has to change. And perhaps that takes a federal step, and it takes a protest nationwide like we're going to see tomorrow. Perhaps that's what is needed for us to finally pay attention to this. I don't know. But CPS can't go away. They're too important. They're too critical. And frankly, I still think, remember when we had this fight with people on food stamps, when Indiana wanted to take away your welfare support if you refuse to get substance abuse help. Remember, the state of Indiana was going to offer you free substance abuse help if you were a parent on welfare and you were addicted to drugs. Free help. If you refuse the free help, then you were going to lose your welfare. And then you had that idiot council person in Gary, Indiana, say that was racist. This is, again, like 6 years ago. And all of us are sitting here going, why would you want to leave a kid in a home of an addict? That doesn't mean that the addict parent doesn't love the kid, but the addict parent is not in a position to care for the child. And you can't leave a child in that environment. You just can't. So this notion that you're going to continue to fund their addiction simply because you don't want to take their kids away from them, that's a non-starter too. So we've got a whole bunch of issues. Sometimes we leave kids in unsafe environments way too long. And then other times we take them out of safe environments really for nonsensical reasons and corrupt reasons. And those are things that have to be addressed nationwide. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station. News Talk 95.3 at 95.3MNC.com.
I didn't know that the rallies were tomorrow. I knew that there was an old story, but so there you go. Nobody gets murdered in Elkhart. What are they talking about?
Responded to a fire at the Goodwill location in Granger Wednesday evening. Fire officials say it began in a trash compactor and the store was evacuated as a precaution. The flames were put out quickly and there was no damage inside the building despite the presence of some smoke that had spread from the bin. No injuries were reported and the fire remains under investigation. And from the good news file, a pair of Beacon Health employees have been recognized for saving the life of a suicide.
Look, I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens with the vitamin K thing, but it's still elective, and to do what they did to those parents is unconscionable and wrong, period. There's no getting around that.
That's 95.3 MNC's Tommy Lee. KFTV reporting. News is protected by ZX Gun, your single source for personal protection. Visit them on 3rd Street in Goshen and check out their full line of quality handguns, shotguns, rifles, accessories, and more. MNC News Time is 4:35.
I'm Steve Rappaport. President Trump doubling down on his accusation that former Vice President Joe Biden and his son are corrupt.
China should start an investigation into the Biden. Because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
A former U.S. envoy of Ukraine testifying before lawmakers today.
Kurt Volker resigned last week from his post. He's being asked about a July phone call between President Trump and Ukraine's president, now at the center of an impeachment inquiry.
Fox's Jared Halpern. The president denies any wrongdoing. A rebound on Wall Street.
1 point this morning after that services sector report came out. We fell 336 points on the Dow. Within that hour, we turned green.
Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis. The Dow finishing up 122 points.
Oh, for your wife. You're doing a 50 Beowulf build for your wife. Damn, lucky gal. For your wife. Sure.
Now, your home comfort experts, heating specialists, first warning forecast.
Just a few sprinkles throughout the afternoon. That would be about it. Otherwise, it's cloudy and breezy. It'll feel like fall. Temperatures drop from the mid and upper 60s at lunchtime to the low 60s and upper 50s by dinner time. 48 for a low tonight. Barely making it to 60.
Yeah, Joe Biden's running scared. The problem with Joe Biden is that he runs his damn mouth. And it's funny when he runs around and he goes, there's no evidence of the accusations against me at all. Well, yeah, there is. First of all, we've got court affidavits from the Ukraine that say that the prosecutor was fired simply because you wanted him to stop investigating your son. You withheld $1 billion, which you brag and joke about. And Rudy Giuliani has met with the prosecutor that was fired. And that prosecutor has said, yes, the reason that I was fired was because of Joe Biden's son. So, yeah, there's plenty of evidence. There's far more evidence of that than there's ever been of any collusion or of any kind. So it's interesting to watch him say that type of stuff.
See them all around town. Cintas trucks and their service reps taking care of customers. When companies use Cintas,
So I got an update on that fake hate hoax with the little girl, 12-year-old girl. An update on that coming up next.
You know those companies care about their employees, facilities, and image. When all those things work together, they're ready for business. Oh, I'm ready! Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
The Fox Business Report, powered by home comfort experts, plumbing, heating, and cooling. Keep your hardworking furnace running smooth with a tune-up today. Call 255-4600.
Personal growth is the continuous process of developing and understanding yourself to achieve your full potential. At Bethel University, we recognize the busy demands on life and take an integrated, faith-based approach to personal growth. Bethel is where students realize that your faith life and your work life doesn't have to be separate. Adults, pursue a degree and earn your MBA while focused on your personal and spiritual growth at Bethel University. Start with a transfer-friendly approach. Find credits for prior learning and even work experience. Set yourself up to finish faster and save money. Add adult classes only 1 night a week and finish courses in only 7 weeks. That's only 7 classes.
Oh, new Rocket League.
In the small class sizes with
Prime loot. Nemesis battle car with 6 decals. PUBG's got a mobile infiltrator mask. That's cool looking.
Hi, I'm Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. Why do we carry the lines of furniture we carry? I believe in the quality. I believe that
You can get a bounty hunter license for Red Dead Online.
They've had that for a little while. I think they just keep. Yeah, we're
They-
still doing that.
You know, so they did like one of the, like they were doing with
Oh, God. What the hell's that other game? Drug dealer. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. They did like that penthouse a bunch.
Yeah.
They kept redoing the penthouse.
They're doing
and then,
Master Penthouse and a bunker.
yeah, that's right, the bunker. So they were doing a lot of the cash in Red Dead, and they were doing one of the rifles or something like that for a long time. They kept re-upping and doing the same thing.
Look at what we have, see what we have to offer, and
We got more of those mutilated cattle in Oregon. Those things show up like every few years, man. Nobody has any idea what the hell happens to them.
Someone's trying to break into my home. They're right at the front door. We're notifying the authorities. I'll stay on the line with you until they arrive. What'll that do?
Ed Buck got it indicted, by the way. It's another big Democratic donor going down. A Florida man was caught on video cutting brake lines on electric rental scooters. Those damn things were everywhere in D.C. And I got to tell you, you look like a freaking idiot when you're in $1,000 suit on a friggin' electric scooter running around D.C. You look like a moron. Your stupid little helmet just running around. A couple of these girls are in shoes that have not high heels, but they have those like low heels on them, and they got skirts, and they're on these scooters. What the hell are you doing, lady? For crying out loud, what are you doing? I'm saving the environment by burning more coal.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Phone number 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. I know that when I'm looking for a personal injury lawyer, I'm going to hire the guy who yells at me on a commercial standing on top of a semi-truck. You just missed it. I was like, okay, I'm going to hire you. Now, for the record, this is one of those observations that I had when I moved here. That's probably the first ambulance chaser attorney that I have seen since I've been here. Where I'm from, those types of commercials are on all the time. Here, it's like you get a normal attorney. Hey, if you're injured, give us a call, that sort of thing. Where I'm from, it's always a gimmick. It's always a gimmick. This is like the first gimmick. I won't tell you who he is. He's probably a really nice dude. It's just that I'm looking at him stand on top of he does Indiana, Kentucky, and a couple of other places, I think, yeah. He's stationed in Kentucky. Okay, so that's why. So he's technically not one of us. But he's just standing on a semi-truck yelling at you. It's like, and he's got this shtick and this gimmick. He's the first one I've seen since I've been here, though. The first one. Like, if you go into Illinois and you see the Glenn Lerner ads and everything, Glenn Lerner lives in Las Vegas. That's where he's based out of. And at one point, he lost his license to practice, and he had to get a partner. So there's a big legal case and everything. I don't know what has happened with all of that. I mean, I'm sure everything's on the up and up. It was just, he's always got that one call, that's all thing. And there's always a gimmick with these ambulance chasing attorneys. And there just hasn't been one since I've been here until this guy. So there's a part of me that's like nostalgic about it. But the other part is I still don't want you standing on top of a semi-truck yelling at me. That's not going to make me hire you. But okay, it's, he's got a shtick, he's got a thing, whatever. It's like we always say, if you remember who the person is and you know to call them when you need them, then the commercial worked, whether you like the commercial or not. It's that simple. I think some of you might be thinking about selling your house soon, and you know where to go. And you can stop sending me hate mail about it because you know that there is a resource available to you to be able to do that. Anyway, 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595953. So that 12-year-old girl who attends school at the school that the vice president's wife, Karen Pence, teaches at, and she lied and said 3 white kids cut her hair. That did not happen. She has admitted that was a lie. Her family has issued an apology. The school has issued their public statement on it. Now, everybody is looking at the reporter who broke the story, because it turns out that the reporter, shocking, may have had a conflict of interest in this particular story. Uh-oh. All right, here we go. Viral story about a black 6th grader in Virginia having her dreadlocks forcibly cut by white classmates turned out to be a hoax. For the record, if you go back and you evaluate the headlines when the story broke versus the headlines when it broke that she lied, in all of the headlines where the story broke, black girl says 3 white kids cut her hair, assaulted her, whatever. When the story broke that she was lying, girl admits to lying about hair being cut by other students. They took the racial component right out of every one of those headlines. Because again, the narrative wasn't being satisfied, so now you can sanitize it. Anyway, a viral story about a black 6th grader in Virginia having her dreadlocks forcibly cut by white classmates turned out to be a hoax, and the reporter who broke the story had some ties to the supposed victim that may have influenced the reporting. Uh-oh. Last month, Amari Allen accused 3 white students at Emmanuel Christian School in Fairfax, Virginia, of pinning her down and cutting her dreadlocks while insulting her. The story gained national media attention, partly due to its characterization as a racist hate crime and partly because it occurred at the school where Second Lady Karen Pence teaches. And of course, I told you to look out for this being another hoax. Allen admitted earlier this week that she fabricated the whole story and that she had cut her own hair. Her grandparents apologized to the school and the students. They didn't just do that. They apologized to the country, and I thought it was a very well-written letter. One of the reporters who broke the story, WUSA TV's Micaiah Turner, has some connections to the story that may have made her more likely to uncritically report the allegation. The same day that Allen reported the incident to her family, Turner was tweeting in support of a bill that would criminalize discrimination on the basis of hairstyle, known as the Crown Act. After the story was reported, Turner then used Allen's situation as a way to support the need for hair discrimination laws. I'm quoting, this why we need the Crown Act, hashtag, to protect little girls like Amari Allen. Turner also had some previous connection to a cosmetics business run by Allen's grandparents and aunt called Still Natural. Turner featured the business in a September 2018 news segment, and that pre-existing relationship was not disclosed in the numerous stories that Turner did about this story. That's a problem. WUSA has deleted all articles reporting the made-up attack and redirected the links to a story about the incident being false. The news organization removed Allen's and her family's names from the story, citing the girl's age and the circumstances. Allen's identity was widely disseminated through her various media appearances. So now they're doing everything they can to erase that this little girl did all of this. Like I said, she's 12. 12-year-olds do stupid things. I don't think this should be held against her for her entire life. And I still think to the family, their letter was a pillar of integrity, if you ask me. And I was very praising of the family for the letter that they wrote. But the reporter is an activist who did not disclose that they had a personal relationship with this family that went back over a year. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendricks.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table.
It's some more fake news.
Your family or group meet
So fakey
breakfast,
news.
dinner. Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next gathering.
Your news is so fake.
Arrived and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Mother Nature finally delivering true fall-like weather with highs for the next week in the 60s. Let's start with
Well, see, 2 weeks ago, before I went to D.C., I was pissed that 2 T-shirts that I bought, which did not say long sleeve on it, they're folded, and I had tried one on, like right next to it was a short sleeve. They didn't say long sleeve on the thing. So I bought 2 shirts, and I was going to take them to D.C. with me. Well, they were long sleeve, and then I was pissed that I had them because I didn't want to wear long sleeves. Now I got them. So see, everything kind of worked out in the end. Kind of motorcycle. Some long sleeves on the motorcycle. I would have taken those back. Would have got my $8 back. I said they were cheap. What? I don't spend money on T-shirts, man. Just don't do it.
For the very first time, townhall.com editor, Fox News contributor, and best-selling author Katie Pavlich.
General admission tickets are on sale now for just $40. Kids ending will receive one copy of Brian's brand new book, Sam Houston. Tickets are available now at 953mnc.com or the MNC studios.
Oh, no, I agree, Mark, and I support the vitamin K shot. They absolutely have a small chance. But again, even if they don't get the vitamin K shot, the chance of them having a fatal bleed incident is extremely rare. So when you're trying to force somebody to do something which is, it may be helpful, it may be beneficial, but is still statistically unlikely to make a big difference, and then you're taking kids away from families because of that. That's where I have the problem.
Commitment to excellence found at Final Phase Electric. Let us help you from the start. Upgrade or repair your current electrical systems, or get ahead of
I agree with you, Happy. It's the same thing.
That grows into a full-scale preventative maintenance schedule. Using advanced tools like thermal imaging cameras can help us identify issues that haven't even popped up yet.
No, and I think the vitamin K shot is a very good thing, but it's like when they run around and they try and tell you that HPV can give you cancer. What they don't tell you is that it is so extraordinarily rare for that to ever happen. And if they did tell you that, then you can make a decision, with an informed data set on whether that's the right move for you. But it's very rare that ever turns into a life-threatening issue. It almost never turns into cancer. I pulled up the numbers at one point in time. They were statistically insignificant, but if you have that information, then you can make a decision on, okay, well, it's a small chance, but I don't want to take it, and that's okay. But when you try and tell people that if you don't give them, and nurses do this, if you don't give them the shot, you're going to give your kid cancer. And I know that nurses do that because nurses have said that to my wife. If you don't, and what we did, because Bree had allergies, and she had a bad reaction to a couple of vaccines, is we can't give her the full cocktail. We have to do it in stages. And so they were trying to tell us that she was going to get cancer if we didn't do it in that early stage, which is bull and a lie, and should be medical malpractice, and they should lose their jobs for that type of crap. But they do it all the time, and it drives me nuts. If you can't trust medical professionals to give you honest and accurate information instead of pushing crap on you, then you can't blame people when they start not believing them about other stuff.
Now you can, thanks to the Men's Guide to Prostate Secrets, featuring the latest news and research from one of America's leading urologists, Dr. Dudley Danoff of Tower Urology Group at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. In this guide, you will learn the truth about the USA test, why most prostate pills don't work, why the saw palmetto pills at the drugstore are worthless, the 7 biggest mistakes most men make, the 5 foods that destroy your prostate, how to stop getting up at night to go, the dirty little secret the pill companies are hiding from you, and much more. This guide sells for $25 on Amazon, but right now you can get a free copy. Just call our 24-hour hotline. It's a recorded message to leave your name and mailing address. Call 1-800-500-2210. That's 1-800-500-2210. Call now and get your free copy. 1-800-500-2210.
Brought to you by ProstateReport.com.
Well, and, I don't know necessarily that I believe that with the large numbers, just because the vitamin K thing has been around since the 60s. Now, if they've changed the formulation, then sure, there's probably a good chance that there's going to be some adverse reactions to that. I can see that. It's just, if you have something that has been around for decades without, large numbers of adverse reactions, all of a sudden there's an adverse reaction. Something happened with a batch, or there's been some change. It's like this vaping thing. For over 10 years, it never sent anybody to the hospital. Then all of a sudden, miraculously, there's a couple hundred people in the hospital for it. Clearly, it's because something unusual happened. It's not because of vaping. And that's the thing that we have to get people to take a step back and use their friggin' brains on some of the time.
We keep you updated all night long with the Lars Larson Show. Tune in weeknights 9 till midnight on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Your breaking news and weather.
Oh, you said bypass westbound at 19?
Yeah. Yes.
By the way, we're still getting reports that the bypass westbound at 19 is still slow, so you want to avoid that if you can, or plan for extra time if you're going through that area. 574-25-95-95-3. That is 2595-953. You can also send a text message to 45364, and please put MNC at the beginning of that message. The World Trade Organization has given the president the go-ahead to slap $7.5 billion in tariffs on the European Union over Airbus subsidies. Now, again, there's a lot of people who don't know anything about economics, especially on the conservative ideological side. Now, obviously, there are those on both sides that are good at economics, but there's a large swath of conservative academics who all they do is theory. They don't have any real-world experience doing anything. They have no business experience. They really don't have any real economic knowledge. They just have the theory of tariff bad. Tariffs can be very bad, but tariffs can also be very good if they are used to level a playing field. And that's where we've been running into issues with China, Mexico, and, of course, the European Union. The World Trade Organization has given the United States approval to impose retaliatory, hey, what does that mean, Joe? Retaliatory tariffs. It means we didn't start it, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. Retaliatory tariffs on $7.5 billion worth of imports from the European Union. The Trump administration objected to subsidies that the European Union gave to the aerospace company Airbus, which makes a fine product, by the way, which is based in France. Trump said that these subsidies adversely impacted the United States. If you have the government giving subsidies to an industry or a company to give it a competitive advantage over its free trade partners, that's not free trade. And that's where the president is coming from here. And you'll notice that there's a ton of Airbus around here. And the president has made no qualms about supporting Boeing. Okay, he is certainly wants to push American airplanes, and Boeing is obviously at the forefront of that. The U.S. Trade Representative first announced that these particular tariffs were a possibility on July 1st. At the time, it released a list of 89 tariff subheadings with an approximate trade value of $4 billion for public comment. This list included cheeses like Romano, Parmesan, and Provolone, as well as olives, coffee, pork, pasta, and whiskey. On Wednesday, the World Trade Organization ruled that the U.S. did have a right to hit the European Union with retaliatory tariffs over the subsidies that the EU had already supplied to Airbus. The World Trade Organization is an international organization that settles trade disputes between its 164 members. In summary of its findings, the World Trade Organization said, and I quote, Airbus paid a lower interest rate for the A350XWB LAMSF than would have been available to it on the market. Because of this, the United States may therefore request authorization from the dispute settlement body to take countermeasures with respect to the European Union and certain member states at a level not exceeding in total basically 7.5 million annually. Okay, so this is Airbus from the European Union got some extra help that they were not supposed to get to make them more competitive than they should have been. And as a result, the World Trade Organization says, yeah, the U.S. can level the playing field with that cheat by having these retaliatory tariffs to make them whole again. So there we go. But again, there's a lot of people like, oh, tariffs are going to make flying more expensive. It's not how it works, but I digress. We've got a lot more coming up in the last hour of the program. Don't forget, we're live streaming on YouTube and Twitch at Casey the Host. Go watch us today. We've got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.
WTRC FM and HD1. Niles, South Bend, Elkhart.
That new sounder is interesting. Sounds like a cannon going off. That sounds completely, that little,
yeah,
that sounds different.
I think it's different. I think John changed it on.
Okay, yeah, because it sounds brand new to me today. You know, he used to tell me when he was making those changes. Guess I'm not important enough anymore.
more than 1,000 cases. Most are male, and
approximately 80% of patients are under 35 years old.
The CDC also finds THC, which provides the high in marijuana, was in a majority of the products used by those who got sick. So far, the only states that have not reported vaping illnesses, Alaska and New Hampshire. Lisa.
Grinaldo, former U.S. envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, who recently resigned, appearing before House committees behind closed doors about the president's Ukraine call that led to a whistleblower complaint. And
Holy crap. Okay, imagine that you're a parent and your daughter starts complaining about headaches and pain in her arm, and then you take them to the doctor and you find out that your daughter was implanted with a birth control implant by her school without telling you. Imagine how pissed you would be as a parent that a school injected your kid with a birth control implant. Whoa. This is the crap that scares me about having daughters, man. I think the office pool still has me going to jail over a school incident. Good God. Wow. Could you imagine how angry you would be? Did you just blast ass on me?
No, that was my shit.
Okay. Sounded like you blasted ass.
Is it me or is she quiet?
She's quiet.
Okay. I got her up pretty high. I don't know.
Yeah, she's low.
Oof.
And that's the thing, Susie. Your kid can't have a friggin' aspirin or a Tylenol at school, but they can inject them with birth control devices. And it wasn't there like a couple of years ago, like some school organized a field trip for girls to go across state lines to get abortions or some crap. It's like, what in the hell is happening? But God forbid you have an aspirin. Yeah, there's chemicals involved in vaping, but the actual vape is not smoke, it's water vapor. So it turns it into a vapor, and that's how you inhale it. But and again, as the report just said, it's all coming from black market THC products. It's not coming from over-the-counter stuff. So these people, man, I'm telling you, this is a big push by people to make more people sick because of money. It's stupid. Police fire shotgun and rifle blanks during high school active shooter drill in Ohio. No, don't do that. This is the thing. They did this shit when I was in high school in the late 90s. They did all of this when I was in high school in the late 90s. Oh, come on. Like, oh, Mom, it was cool. Like, we had SWAT team in school today. Like, they're shooting and stuff. It was great. Nobody had the reaction that you have now. In the 90s, this was happening. Everybody's all butthurt about it.
Each time they wanted to place using their cell phone. That's 95.3 MNC's John Zimney reporting. News is powered by Parkwood Auto Spa, home of the Buy 5.
So this high school in Memphis, Tennessee got rid of Homecoming King and Queen and made it Homecoming Royalty. So if you were gender fluid or whatever, you could still get it. So basically just two people get it, regardless. So they got rid of King and Queen. I suppose if you're going to go the politically correct route, that's the way to do it. You're just going to be royalty, whatever.
Friday, we'll see sunshine and a high around 60. A nice fall day, falling into the mid-40s Friday night. Saturday, partly cloudy with a high of 64. in the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coon.
Minutes matter when severe weather hits. Get 95.3 MNC weather text alerts so you know when to take cover.
An actress for a stage production of The Color Purple was fired for her Christian views on homosexuality and is now filing a lawsuit. There's a lot of really weird lawsuits happening right now.
So if the inside is running great, why not make the outside look just as flawless?
Jussie Smollett's still out there telling everybody he didn't lie.
Ireland Road in South Bend can make sure your ride looks pristine and gleaming. They're also home of the buy 5 get 3 free. For every 5
Family outraged after Universal Studios employee makes OK sign in photo with their 7-year-old daughter. Now the employee has been fired. This is what happens when you have idiots trying to tell you that something that is not racist is racist.
also lets you control your wash. Pull up in the bay and get it done by hand. Or drive through their automatic wash and get on your way.
Startup invents underwear that you can wear for weeks without cleaning them because washing your skivvies is extremely harmful to the environment, they say. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Let's talk credit card debt for a minute. If you feel you're carrying too much, you're not alone. The average household in the U.S. carries over $8,000 in credit card debt. Ready for some good news? With a cash-out refinance from Quicken Loans, you can quickly and easily put some of the equity in your home to good use by paying off a lot of that high-interest credit card debt. A great way to take cash out is with our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.08%.
What a world,
Call us
people.
today at 800-QUICKEN to learn how taking cash out with a 30-year fixed mortgage might be the right solution for you. And for a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate subject to change. Pay 1.25% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
From the Final Phase Electric Studios. First step to the final phase.
All right, here we go.
Commercial electrical done right.
This is Casey Hendrickson on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I'm looking up at the TV. We have the 5 on, and there's Katie Pavlich, who, of course, will be here on Saturday, November 2nd at the brand new 4th annual Noise with Brian Kilme. Get your tickets at 95.3 MNC.com or come out to the MNC studios during normal business hours. We're closed now, so we're not going to let you in. So come tomorrow, and you can pay with cash or card. All right, what do we have here? Do you want to thank our sponsor, Second Amendment Arms and Range, located in New Carlisle. If you mention me, you get 50% off your range time. Go to secondamendmentarms.net for more information. All right. A police charity event has been canceled or at least postponed. And the reason that it was postponed was because the police chief has withdrawn. Now, the reason for the police chief withdrawing is that Republicans were invited to the event. I am not making this up. A charity event planned in honor of an officer killed in a 2018 mass shooting at a country music bar in Southern California has been postponed indefinitely, reportedly because the police chief did not want Republicans invited. The Blue Bowl, a charity flag football game, was intended to raise money for the family of fallen Ventura County Sergeant Ron Hellis, as well as other officers killed in the line of duty, according to Fox 11 Los Angeles. Thousands of dollars had been raised for fallen officers' families, but the money is now being returned to donors because Thousand Oaks Police Chief Tim Hagel, Thousand Oaks is where all the porn stars live, by the way, reportedly withdrew the police department because Trump supporters would be speaking at the event. So what? What in the world is wrong with us? I mean, there's nothing wrong with me, but a lot of you got some explaining to do. He basically said over and over in the conversation, quote, "This is not Trump country. That slogan, Make America Great, is not favorable, popular within 1,200 square miles." and a little bit less than that, but I digress. That we don't want Republicans here. I could not believe it, said Mike Randall, the vice president of the Fallen Officers Foundation. So the president, or the vice president of the Fallen Officers Foundation, is basically saying the police chief of Thousand Oaks is sitting here telling me that because there are Trump supporters and that is not a Trump district, and it's not, that they didn't want anything to do with any Republicans who might be supporters of Trump being at this event. So they withdrew the department. Now, keep in mind, this is about raising money for the families of those who lost their lives in the line of duty. The only thing, and I quote, the only thing that you could have done to make this worse, Mike, was to invite Dick Cheney and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, unquote. So Mike Randall, the vice president of the Fallen Officers Foundation, said, wow, are you kidding me? Both Democrats and Republicans were invited to the event because I got news for you. It's for the police and their families. It has nothing to do with politics. It's not supposed to be about politics. And so you're going to have officials from both parties there. That's going to happen. Governor Gavin Newsom's public safety liaison, Trump supporter Scott Baio, who attended Helis's church, and Trump-supporting singer Joy Vila were all scheduled to attend. He also said Democratic Assemblywoman Jacque Irwin was upset that her former opponent had been invited. So what? How freaking petty are these people? Oh, the person that I ran against was invited to this event. I'm not going to be there. Are you 12? This is one of those things where I used to date Billy, and then Billy dumped me, and so now if Billy's going to be at any school event, I'm not going to go because I don't want to see Billy. It hurts my feelings too much. What in the world is your problem? He added that Hagel told him to get rid of the Republican speakers or the police department would withdraw, and they finally did. Okay. So the police chief of the Thousand Oaks Police Department doesn't care about fallen officers' families. And honestly, folks, that's the summary of it. If you don't want to put on an event with your political adversaries or your political opposites that would benefit people who serve the community and their families when those people die, if you don't want to be in the same room with them, I got news for you. You are the problem. Now, BrassPills.com writes, how long can a country stay a country when members of one political party hate members of the other so much that they can't even play against them in a charity flag football game? How long can a country stay a country if the people in it have nothing in common anymore? How long can a country stay a country if the people in it don't see eye to eye on anything that matters? And one of those things that we should be seeing eye to eye on is the relatives of those who serve us, who die in the line of duty, should be taken care of. That shouldn't be something that is up for debate. It shouldn't be something that we argue and bicker about at all in any way, shape, or form. Now, if people showed up at this event and if people made this political, I would be okay with you calling them out for making it political, whether they're on the left or the right. They shouldn't show up at an event like this that is designed to raise money for the families of fallen police officers who were killed in the line of duty. They shouldn't turn that into a political campaign event. They should be there. They should give a good speech. They should tell everybody why the cause is important, and then they should tell everybody to have fun. That's what they should do. If they make it anything else, then I'm okay with calling them out on it. But the mere fact that somebody does not want to be in the same place to raise money for the families of fallen police officers because they're not in the same political party is egregious. It is petty. It is as juvenile and pathetic as you can possibly get. This is way more pathetic than the Los Angeles Police Department's crap with Breitbart.com right now. Because God forbid Breitbart.com runs Google ads and some place has a Google ad pop up on Breitbart for the LAPD recruitment efforts, and then they contact the LAPD and go, why are you advertising on Breitbart? They're not. They're advertising on Google, And I got news for you. Breitbart's one of the most visited websites in the entire country. And it also happens to be an extremely pro-police website. So if you're going to recruit people to the LAPD, you're going to get them on pro-police websites. I don't know what to do with this. I don't. It's like I said, it's not a Trump district. I mean, the police chief is right about that. So what? This is about bringing people together to raise money for the families of those who died in the line of service, protecting that community. Unreal. Here's the thing. It's no longer surprising. That's what's so sad about this. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Michiana's news channel is
everywhere. The top news and issues on Facebook and on Twitter at 95.3 MNC. Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table in Niles. 26 years of exceptional food, tremendous service, and great people. Visit Prime Table today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Joe, damn right.
Your home comfort expert.
Juice Mafia.
5-day forecast.
Fall weather looks to stick around. Temperatures in the low 60s on Friday with sunshine and still fair going into the weekend. 45 Friday night, 64, partly cloudy on Saturday. The one hitch is rain Saturday evening into Sunday morning. Much of that is at night, but if you're going to the Notre Dame game, you may have wet weather around the fourth quarter on Saturday. Partly cloudy on Sunday, 64, clearing into Monday. Sunny with a high of 62. Sunshine continues on Tuesday with a high of 64. In the ABC 57 Morning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Coon.
95.3 MNC and Final Phase Electric present the 4th annual Noise. It's set for Saturday, November 2nd at Center 615 in Elkhart. And this year, the Noise stage is like you've never seen before. Our special guests are Fox News host and best-selling author Brian Kilmeade, and appearing on the Noise stage for the very first time, Townhall.com editor, Fox News contributor, and best-selling author Katie Pavlich. General admission tickets are on sale now for just $40, and each attendee will receive one copy of Brian's brand new book, Sam Houston. Tickets are available now at 953mnc.com or the MNC Studios at 237 West Edison Road in Mishawaka. Get yours now and get set to make some noise on Saturday, November 2nd. Presented by Final Phase Electric.
Also sponsored by Monterey Mexican Bar and Grill, Flags International, 5-Star Dive Bar, and Warren Chiropractic.
And News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, your breaking news and weather station.
For more than 40 years, Logan Protective Services has provided advocacy and guardianship for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities who are endangered by abuse, neglect, or exploitation. You can help this vital cause and have fun doing it. Join Logan Protective Services at the Brick on October 20th for an afternoon of great music and great food, all for a great cause. Yes, it's time again for Newman Fest, featuring live music by the Motown Machine. Named after Logan's founding father, Joe Newman, Newman Fest raises awareness and funds for Logan Protective Services. Don't wait. Get your tickets today at any Logan location or order online at logancenter.org. The cost is $25. You'll enjoy a buffet catered by Monterey Mexican Grill, accompanied by unlimited music and dancing, a cash bar, silent auction, and prizes round out the fun. Here's all you need to know.
See, it's just loading your comments. So, I'm way behind on the comments, folks. Just so you know.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? I'm certified financial planner Casey Weed. I like to call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. We want to help remove stress from your retirement.
Have them use Boomer. That would be funny.
Or how much money you'll receive. The only thing we want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call the team at Howard Bailey, 866-482-9559 for a complimentary retirement analysis and strategies that can help provide you with the monthly income you'll need in retirement. 866-482-9559, 866-482-9559, or just
Washington Free Beacon breaking story. Rashida Tlaib says Democrats are looking into ways to arrest Trump officials.
A registered investment advisor.
Says the chick being investigated for improperly using campaign funds to pay herself, but okay.
At R&B Car Company, voted Michiana's #1 independent volume dealer. Come see why we are where you ought to be.
Holy crap, my birthday actually coaxed Warren Cluck out of his slumber to wish me a happy birthday.
You'll love driving. So drop the rake. Those leaves will
And he called me young man.
Shop now and get pre-approved at rbcarcompany.com.
I'm Sean Haas, an Army veteran, teacher, husband,
Should I ding him about Indian?
Republican for mayor of South Bend. 50 years of one
Now that you have a real motorcycle sponsor, when are you going to get a real bike?
should. to continue the same failed policies of Mayor Pete. As mayor, I will fight to restore the safety of our streets, revitalize our schools, and ensure that our city is rebuilt in a way that we can all prosper. On November 5th, let's not have another repeat. Vote for me, Sean Haas for mayor. Paid for by the committee to elect Sean Haas for mayor.
When response is critical, First Response will respond to you. When your home has been stricken with fire damage, wind damage, flooding, smoke, and mold damage, First Response will respond to you with restoration services throughout the northern Indiana and Michiana area.
I kept it more diplomatic. I said, thanks, bud. Now that you have Elkhart Indian as a sponsor, when are you going to get a real bike? I've got nothing against the other dealerships, but...
So the Washington Free Beacon just had a breaking news story come through. Rashida Tlaib says the Democrats are looking into how to arrest Trump officials. Like I said, this is coming from the woman being investigated for improperly using campaign funds to pay herself, which she may or may not have done illegally, by the way. Went over that. Was it yesterday or the day before? Anyway. All right. A lot of us have minor aches and pains. And there's no doubt that CBD is able to benefit most of us when it comes to that sort of thing. But, maybe you don't want oils. Maybe you want something that's a nice little moisturizer. It's a lotion. Okay. Well, that's where Naturals CBD lotion comes in. It is available from juicemafia.com or any eSig Works location. This stuff is amazing. I was laying in bed. I was doing the week trial. They gave it to me to try for a week to see if I wanted to endorse it. And I had this sharp pain on the right side of my neck, which I get on a regular basis when, throughout the year when I'm asleep. It always hits me in the middle of the night, the way I sleep, and it just kinks my neck, that sort of thing. And I can never go back to sleep after it happens. It hurts that bad. It's a really sharp pain. So what I did is I said, well, I'm going to try this CBD lotion that I got from Juice Mafia. And I'm just going to go and throw it on there. And I did. I put it on my neck. And about 2-3 minutes later, my neck did not hurt at all. And I was able to fall right back to sleep. I use it routinely for an elbow injury that I have that aggravates when the weather changes. And this stuff just works. My wife has also used it a couple of times on pain that she has had. And she says, again, within about 2 minutes or so, everything gets warm, the muscles loosen up, and pain goes away. This is really good stuff. And like I said, I told most of you that I was testing it out when I was doing it for that week. 3 days into the week trial, I came in and told my salespeople I wanted to endorse this product. That's how good it is. So again, you can go ahead and get this at juicemafia.com. Use coupon code, write this down, please. Coupon code KC10, CASEY, and the number 10. Okay, that'll get you 10% off at juicemafia.com. You can get it in 250 milligrams or 500 milligrams. This is full spectrum CBD, not isolate. Full spectrum. It's got no artificial colors, no animal testing, anything like that. It's been grown, harvested, produced, and tested right here in the United States of America. This is a phenomenal product at a price you are not going to believe. I have no doubt that those of you who looked at CBD stuff have noticed that the price could be, well, quite high for a lot of it. Imagine getting a 120 milliliter bottle for 250 milligrams of this stuff for just $14.99 or 500 milligrams for just $19.99. And then you get a discount with KC10 using that coupon code on top of that. This is about half the price of its nearest competitor locally, and this stuff works. It'll moisturize your skin, relieve minor pain and irritants on the skin. It's a phenomenal product. Naturals CBD lotion, juicemafia.com, coupon code KC10, or you can find it at any eSig Works location. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. Get this stuff. All right, 574-2595-95.3. That is 2595-953. You can also send me a text message at 45364. Please put MNC at the beginning of that message. Casey, didn't they just invite this? Why not just not invite the stupid police chief? Here's the thing. If this event, if it were to go forward, I wonder if the Thousand Oaks Police Department would show up. And that depends on the chief and what control they have over the department. I would bet that police department would want to show up regardless. I would bet that more people on that police department than the chief wants to admit to probably don't ascribe to their politics. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter. It's not about politics. This is about people coming together and playing a flag football game to raise money for families of police officers who died in the line of duty. There's no reason to bring politics into this and back out of helping those kids and those spouses simply because you don't want to hang out with people who don't agree with you politically. What a narrow-minded and pathetic position to have as an individual. And it's a damaging thing to have this type of mentality in public service because it shouldn't exist in public service. You know, it can exist on Twitter, I guess, but it's damaging on Twitter. Imagine you have a police chief who thinks this way. That's not all right. If Pete Buttigieg and I can put our differences aside and go to Memorial Day events every single year together and stand in line together and give speeches together and support the same cause together, this guy can sure as heck grow up and stop acting like a spoiled little brat. Now, of course, you know, after the event, we'll go back to bickering at each other, and that's okay. But for crying out loud, this is about the kids and the wives of these men who died. That's so stupid to behave this way. But I don't know, because they're having to refund everybody's money now. That's all money that doesn't go to the families now. So I don't know what control this police chief, he sounds like one hell of an authoritarian. This police chief may admonish any officer who actually went to the game and participated. I don't know. Because he pulled the entire department out. So instead of him going, I'm not going to go there, and then giving his department the A-OK to participate if they wanted to, he didn't do that. He pulled the department out. It's a very low thing to do. Anyway, 574-2595-95.3, the assistant U.S. attorney has been found to have illegally leaked grand jury information, but the Department of Justice declined to prosecute again. How many times is this going to happen? How many times are we going to have the Department of Justice find people illegally leaking to the public? Remember, Adam Schiff is guilty of illegal leaks to the press. Okay? We have the documents, we have the proof, we have the timeline, we have his phone records we know that he has illegally leaked to the press. We know that. He's walked right out of the Intel Committee and he has gave them classified information to the press to go ahead and run with. That's not allowed, and yet he has done it. We have caught him doing it, and he has not been charged with a darn thing. Rashida Tlaib talking about we're looking at ways to arrest Trump officials. Anyway, so now we have found that another U.S. attorney illegally leaked grand jury information, which is secret, to the press, and the Department of Justice once again has said we're not going to prosecute. Aha. By the way, the U.S. attorney, the assistant U.S. attorney, coincidentally, so a U.S. attorney found to have illegally leaked grand jury information, but the Department of Justice declined to prosecute. At the same time, an assistant U.S. attorney, same position, who prosecuted Michael Flynn had resigned. Perhaps the individual who illegally leaked grand jury information to the press was the U.S. assistant, the assistant U.S. attorney who prosecuted Michael Flynn, who is now in big hot water for allegedly, according to the documents that we have, pressuring Flynn to lie under oath. And maybe instead of prosecuting him, the Department of Justice said, you can hand in your resignation now, and we won't press charges. So I suppose that could be it. I mean, it sure does seem very, very coinkydinky-like, right? You've got an assistant U.S. attorney who has been discovered to have illegally leaked grand jury information to the press. And at the same time, the assistant U.S. attorney who prosecuted Michael Flynn has resigned. I wonder if it is Deborah Curtis. I wonder. Deborah Curtis is the one who did that, by the way, prosecuted him. I wonder. We don't know for sure. They're not telling anybody, but it sure seems that way. And right now, Michael Flynn is on the verge of having every charge against him thrown out. And if he doesn't get them thrown out, I will be surprised. At this point in time, the information that there was prosecutorial misconduct, which would be the assistant U.S. attorney, Deborah Curtis, the information and the evidence that we have that there was prosecutorial misconduct in the Michael Flynn case is starting to become insurmountable. So pretty interesting stuff. Now, again, we don't know for sure if it's Deborah Curtis yet. We are waiting for confirmation on that, but I would bet Joe's salary on it. We've got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
This is Michiana's breaking news.
I'm not going to risk my salary. I've got a family.
MNC News Time is 5:31. I'm Brooke.
Sure is a coinkydink.
With our top local stories this afternoon, police have arrested a woman in Georgia who was wanted for a murder in Elkhart.
Don Gregory, wanted in the murder of Ishmael Porter, was arrested last week in Atlanta as part of a joint effort between local police and the U.S. Marshals. Back in May, Elkhart police found Porter with serious injuries at a Sherman Street and took him to the hospital where he later died. What led up to the shooting is still unclear, but Gregory will get an initial hearing in Elkhart as soon as she's extradited out of Atlanta.
That's 95.3 MNC's Darren Wright reporting. The Van Buren County Sheriff's Department is investigating 2 deaths in Paw Paw. Bodies were discovered Wednesday in a home near the Heritage Glen Golf Club, but no other information was immediately released. The investigation is ongoing. And the first freeze of the fall season will be here before you know it, and this year's farmers aren't the only ones giving it a lot of attention.
Experts say the first hard freeze this year will be critical in killing off mosquitoes that are transferring the EEE virus to humans, especially in Michigan. The first hard freeze is defined as the first time in the season that the temperature hits 28 degrees or cooler for at least 4 hours. Some experts say those temperatures should kill most of the mosquitoes, but those that have found shelter somewhere may require colder weather to kill them. The first frosts and freezes tend to arrive in lower Michigan around mid to late October.
That's 95.3 MNC's Heather Starr reporting. News is powered by Temper Grill. Make plans this week to experience the unmatched style of Temper Grill. Seating is limited, so call or visit TemperGranger.com today. MNC News Time is 5:33.
Federal health officials reporting more than 1,000 confirmed or probable cases of lung illness.
Coming back at 39. And break.
18 deaths confirmed and reported to CDC from 15 states.
And of the more than 1,000 cases.
Just tell me what time I need to get out.
Okay.
Former U.S. envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, testifying before 3 House committees as
What time do you want to come back?
inquiry of President Trump.
As long as I've got at least a minute, I'm okay. I just need at least a minute to wrap things up.
43, 44.
Of the July 25th phone call between the president and the Ukrainian leader. So the president, the Ukrainian leadership,
Fox's Catherine Herridge, the president says he did nothing wrong when asking Ukraine's leader to investigate Joe Biden and his family. America is listening to Fox News.
People are asking if Shadow 13 is a bot. And do you know what Shadow 13 said? Oh, hey, look, NPC is back. So weird that NPC didn't show up yesterday when we were able to point out that the IGIC had confirmed that they altered the rules and the forms and everything. NPC, it's all in the code. It's all in the code.
Saturday, partly cloudy with a high of 64. In the ABC 57 First Warning Neighborhood Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom.
When did Joe turn vegan? When did you turn vegan?
From the finest American styles.
You're not vegan.
In Michiana, surrounded by craft beer, fine wine,
I don't know. Somebody just wrote it, and person one apparently hasn't been paying attention to the court cases at all, but that's okay.
deliver you an unmatched dining experience that changes every week to fit the time of the year and its mood.
Did you know
What's that?
Oreos are vegan?
I did know that Oreos are vegan. I did. They covered that a little while back.
I was surprised to learn that.
The atmosphere of Temper Grill with a perfect backdrop for the occasion. Reservations required. 21 and up. Explore our menu, buy gift cards, or make a simple dinner reservation at tempergranger.com. Unplug and relax with a truly unforgettable dining experience. Because life is too short and the food is too good to break bread in a bad mood. Temper Grill. Food with attitude.
I'm Charles Payne. This is Fox Business Report.
Stocks closing higher in another volatile session. In earlier trading, investors were jolted by surprisingly slow growth in the U.S. services sector last month, the weakest in 3 years. With the Dow rising 122 points, the Nasdaq up 87, S&P 500 up 23. The shares of Costco falling after the warehouse club operator reported lower than expected sales.
Well, also what they're doing, Happy, is they're conflating multiple issues into one issue instead of looking at the actual case, including the case that was just tossed out against his business partner and the prosecutorial misconduct against Flynn, which now has physical documented evidence. So they're trying to argue totally separate things as one singular issue, and they're not. But that's what you do when you don't actually have an articulate argument for something.
Use Cintas, you know they're confident and ready. Cintas helps with their fire protection and first aid and safety programs, handles their apparel solutions, helps keep their facility and restrooms clean and stocked. So you know those companies care about their employees, facilities, and image. When all those things work together, they're ready for business.
Casey, did you see a torrent of posts wishing Bernie Sanders death? No, I did not. And that is because people on the political right are not insane. You tend to see that mostly with people on the left. You do see a little bit,
such as
but
chronic pain, infection, wound reopening, mesh migration, bowel obstruction, need revision surgery, or other complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory global recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call the hernia mesh helpline now.
oh yeah, it's total rules for radical stuff. Like I said, it's in the code. The code is written for the NPC, and the NPC is not allowed to deviate from the code. If they deviate from the code, they'll blow up. They don't know what to do, so they just keep talking point, ad hominem attack, straw man fallacy, talking point. They're incapable of critically thinking. Incapable of it. And like I said, when you start arguing something that's not even in the discussion in order to try and justify your own argument, you've already lost. So they can continue to post if they want. They're being debating. They're not being unruly or anything. So there's no reason to ban them.
Real Services is dedicated to helping our community's elders stay in their homes for as long as possible. And Home Comfort Experts keeps everyone
I'll do this
in their homes all year
story.
long.
No, wait, no. I've got to do that other police story. I teased it.
Enter the call for service. You can help too. Volunteer with Real Services this fall. If you have time, there's an opportunity for you. Call Alan at 574-284-7138 to become a Real Services volunteer. This message proudly supported by Home Comfort Experts.
From the final phase electric studios. From the first step to the final phase, industrial and commercial electrical done right. This is Casey Hendrickson.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. 95.3 MNC and Final Phase Electric are officially kicking off the countdown to the 2020 presidential election with the 4th annual noise on Saturday, November 2nd at Center 615 in Elkhart. Again, special guest this year. Fox News host, 95.3 MNC host, best-selling author Brian Kilmeade is back, and townhall.com editor, Fox News contributor, and best-selling author Katie Pavlich. General admission tickets are on sale now for just $40. and each attendee will receive one copy of Brian's brand new book, Sam Houston. And again, there'll be a pre-release copy. You have that before it's available to the public. Tickets are available now at 953mnc.com or the MNC Studios at 237 West Edison Road in Mishawaka during normal business hours. Card and cash accepted. And again, Saturday, November 2nd, presented by Final Phase Electric and 95.3 MNC. So a county police department in Virginia announced on Tuesday that one of their officers was suspended for turning an illegal alien over to ICE after determining the individual had dodged a deportation hearing. In other words, he did his job. Fairfax County Police Chief Edwin Rosler Jr. said the officer in question had a lapse in judgment when he called ICE about an illegal alien. Quote, "This is an unfortunate issue where the officer was confused," Rosler said. "We have trained on this issue a lot. That is the first time that we've had a lapse in judgment and the officer is being punished." The officer reportedly encountered the illegal alien when responding to a traffic accident on September 21st, during which he discovered that the individual did not have a Virginia driver's license. And let's not forget, a lot of illegal aliens get into car accidents. After running the person's information through the Department of Motor Vehicle system, the officer discovered ICE had issued an administrative violation against the individual for failing to appear at a deportation hearing. The officer verified the warrant, then called the listed ICE agent who came to the scene and took them into custody. The individual was released several hours later with an ankle monitor. So again, police officer did exactly what they were supposed to do, and now they are being disciplined simply because this department doesn't want them actually enforcing the country's laws, at least not the laws that they disagree with, which is a really interesting position to be in if you're in law enforcement, right? So again, guy had a warrant, skipped out on a deportation hearing. The ICE agent was listed on the warrant. The officer contacted that person. He came and served the warrant, took the person into custody. That is how it works. And to punish an officer for doing their job would seem to suggest that you might want to find another police department to work for. Although I'm not sure I could recommend coming to South Bend, but maybe one of the surrounding areas. I'm sure that they would be happy to take you in. Anyway, don't forget we're live streaming youtube.com/KC the Host, twitch.tv/KC the Host, and you can follow me on Facebook and Parler at KC the Host, on Instagram at ASD Knives. We've got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
Your breaking news and weather station.
Weather served up by the Prime Table Restaurant in Niles. Does your family or group meet
go ahead.
regularly for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Just call the Prime Table to reserve tables for your next gathering.
Now, your home
I'll do that,
experts, heating specialist 5-day forecast.
Fall weather looks to stick around. Temperatures in the low 60s on Friday with sunshine and still fair going into the weekend. 45 Friday night, 64 partly cloudy on Saturday. The one hitch is rain Saturday
thank you.
evening into Sunday morning. Much of that is at night. But if you're going
Person one doesn't know anything about MIFSID. That's what's funny about it, because Mueller has been caught lying. But if you want to yap about it, you're more than welcome to yap about it.
sunshine continues on Tuesday. 54.
No, he didn't. It's been debunked, but if you want to keep going on with that, you keep going on with it. That's the funny thing, is that the NPC on the live chat right now keeps repeating things that months ago we have the actual forms debunking. And they keep saying it over and over and over again because the code has been written. And their code says, just keep saying this, even if you're proven wrong, just keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it, keep saying it. Just like when they hopped on the other day and tried to say that the ICIG had actually confirmed or had actually debunked that the Trump administration's claim that the rules had changed for the whistleblower, when in fact they admitted it in that form, because they only look at the headlines of stuff and repeat and regurgitate the things that have already been debunked, because that's their narrative. They're not interested in the actual facts of the case or the truth.
Drive through your automatic wash and get on your way. Get to Parkwood Auto Spa.
I was told that Ross has pumpkin spice latte dog treats. Interesting. I don't know. I'm sure dogs really enjoy pumpkin spice latte. I'm sure that's a thing that they aspire to. So I'm going to cut out quick on you guys when I bounce out of here in 5 minutes because I've got an appointment to get to. So I apologize if it seems abrupt.
I am not a realtor or associated with any realty company.
But you guys can hang out and debate the person who doesn't know what they're talking about if you want to. That's okay.
Call me at 574-294-5678. I buy inherited houses.
The problem is that, you know, people go out there, they see a story that months ago fit their narrative, they hold on to it, they never follow up on any of the updates on it, they don't look at the documents, they don't read the documents, they just read the headlines, and then they wonder why nobody takes them seriously when they talk, because they're so far behind on everything.
Call me at 574-294-5678 for a cash offer today. That's 574.
For instance, the Mifsud stuff has been debunked for many months. That's okay. We'll find out what actually happened with Mifsud after because we actually found him because he was disappeared for so long. And the Mueller report inaccurately labeled him as a Russian asset. Of course, he's not. He worked for the U.S. government.
Significant cash compensation. Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body.
Pumpkin spice dog treats.
The manufacturer of a popular hernia
Casey, is the MNC noise event a gun-free zone or a gun-friendly zone? It is always a gun-friendly zone. Just don't be an a-hole about it.
Entitled to significant cash compensation. Call the hernia mesh.
We will have security and don't do things that are going to upset security.
Our experienced attorneys will fight to get
You get holes in yourself, it's your fault.
You pay nothing
Not my
less
fault.
to get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the hernia mesh helpline now. 800-957-7062.
That is not a live shot. That is just a picture.
Call 800-957-7062.
Why are they just showing a picture of? Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, so it's just frozen. I gotcha. Well, let's be honest. They've been going downhill for a while.
And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I'm your host, Casey Hendrickson. Americans spent more on taxes in 2018 than on food, clothing, and health care combined. Now, this is how you know things they've gone awry in your country. You should not be spending more on taxes than you are on your absolute necessities in life, and that's exactly what is happening. Americans on average spent more on taxes in 2018 than they did on basic necessities of food, clothing, and health care combined, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Expenditure Survey. The survey recently published Table R1 for 2018 lists the average detailed expenditures on what the BLS calls consumer units. So things are not going well for the leftist advocates saying that we're not taxed enough and that guns are killing more and more people, and that those ARs are particularly problematic because the UCR, of course, was released this past week, which debunks all of that. And now this. Consumer units, according to the BLS, includes families, single persons living alone, or sharing a household with others, but who are financially independent, like roommates, or two or more persons living together who share major expenses, the shackers-uppers. So in 2018, according to Table R1, American consumer units spent an average of $9,031.93 on federal income taxes, $5,023.73 on Social Security taxes, which the table calls deductions, $2,284.62 on state and local income taxes, $2,199.80 on property taxes, and $77.85 on what they call other taxes. Combined, it's $18,617.93, and they spent $14,758.11 on your basic necessities. So you spent about $4,000 more on taxes than you did on food, clothing, healthcare, and the like. Like I said, when you get to a point where that is happening, things are really wrong. Your priorities are messed up in your government. There's no doubt about that. And this is why you have so many people getting really irritated about the way the tax structure is in the United States, although it's much better now than it was over the previous 8 years. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. And again, we'll see you tomorrow. Now, here's the O'Reilly Update with Bill O'Reilly.
All right, folks. I've got to bounce because I have muy importante appointments. But do want to thank you once again for tuning in and listening. Appreciate that. Hopefully the NPC will start to learn a couple of things, maybe become informed. That would be nice. Maybe catch up on stuff that has been updated in the past 6 months instead of holding on to things that are 6 to 9 months old. For the rest of you, hope you have a wonderful and safe night, and we will see you tomorrow.